Hello. Welcome to the Xirtus.
Synctank.
What if I told you the latter way is the ancient way? You know what I mean?
I don't answer questions.
This kind of looks like what a Paranoid American with Thomas. I didn't realize how much Morpheus looked like you. You know, like basically the same guy.
I took both the pills, but I snorted them and boofed them.
Bro, like honestly, you look like Morpheus with a beard. That's the only difference I see because I was raised colorblind in the 90s. I was just thinking about that earlier because how old am I? In the 90s at my California elementary school, I dressed as a flamenco dancer to Alvin and the Chipmunks La Bamba as a Mexican migrant field worker in blackface with charcoal mustache. And I won, which is pretty good.
Congrats. I actually we had a Elvis dress up contest in elementary school, and I now realize that was proxy blackface, and I apologize for it.
Yeah, it's like basically gypsy face. You got to be really careful about that. But I mean, there probably are. I think Elvis impersonators are probably some of the most important undercover deep state agents there ever were. I mean, for the most part, what else are they doing? You know, because it's like, who did I see? Well, I just saw, you know, there was an Elvis impersonator there. What does that even mean? You know, Sam the Newsman.
Shout out to 3,000 Miles of Graceland and Sam Newsman. Not the.
Dude,
his name's not the. It's Sam Newsman.
Sam Newsman says he's first. But then Zombie Darth identifies as the first person to comment. So
how do you resolve that one?
I was kind of sure. I feel like you have to respect people's pronouns. So if they
facts
go by
aren't feelings,
first.
you know, facts don't trump feelings. I mean, wait, no, it's strike that reverse.
Those are two different things. Yeah, facts don't
trump facts. Yeah, okay, no,
facts don't trump. No, I agree. Facts don't trump feelings, but facts aren't feelings. That's you were right the first time. That's how I feel about it.
Isn't the word Trump as a verb now a pejorative, or no, not yet? Because it feels like in the near future, something trumping something is going to be a bad thing. It's no
the
longer
only reference I had for the word Trump prior to Trump being in the spot, like before 2016, if the word Trump was said, I would think of tarot first because I was so immersed in tarot, you know, like Trump tarot, like, and so like that was, you know, it, yeah.
And I would think of spades, because in spades, Trump is always like, oh, you trumped me, or like, bam. Well, like it's a good thing. Like you're commanding authority over everyone else on the table.
Well, yeah, that's why when, you know, he was first introduced to people, you know, and they're like, that's your name, dude. That's like Madonna when they're like, that's your name. Like, psh, we don't have to do anything with that. You got it. Yeah.
I mean, the trump card is always in any game, though. I would have thought even before tarot of like the elevated, you know, card in any, like in poker or Jim Rummy or something like that, right? The 6 of Cups is tucked under the deck in a game of Brisca to show that the cups is the trump suit. right? So it's that trumps anything else. That was always
when I first watched the Trackdown episode called "The End of the World," where the guy named Trump, shows up in town and convinces everyone to buy his paracells to protect them. He says, "I'm going to build that wall for you that will protect you." Is the exact language that he uses about the asteroids coming, and it's going to be the end of the world unless you buy my paracells. So he's like this snake oil salesman or whatever. But when he first meets the sheriff and he says, "Oh, his name's Trump," that tracks, or that fits. And I was like, why does it fit? And I had to look into it. And I found out it's because I didn't know this, but trumpery is a term that means showy but worthless, where you're basically taking the superficial or the topical to be the thing in itself. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, this is a new one. This is a new one for me.
Yeah. So I was like, why does he say that? I was like, why does he say, "Oh, that fits"? Because I guess in the 1950s when Trackdown came out, more people knew about Trump, what trumpery meant. Oh, okay.
On the trump cards thing, we were talking and I brought up spades, but I always thought this was fascinating how we've taken oracular technology and just turned it into gambling. Like the same exact thing with the roulette wheel, right? Wasn't the roulette wheel originally used for divination and like throwing dice? Like everything that Vegas runs on as classic gambling, like old school gambling, they're all based on something that has like more occult value in the background, right? And I wonder, is that just because everyone wanted to feel important and then over time they turned into games, or was it intentionally perverted to kind of destroy it?
Right. Well, look at Back to the Future 2, when Marty first comes up against a character modeled after Trump. And, when he's basically at a place that's symbolic of Trump Tower, but the whole thing is about legalizing gambling and his connection to gambling. And so there's this Vegas aesthetic that's totally tied to him there,
Back to the Future 3 reinforces that too, where it sort of makes the Wild West shootouts less serious because Marty is advanced in playing Gunsmoke, I think it was. I can't remember which game it was, but also it's kind of like reducing this very real experience that you'd have to earn through merit into like a game of itself. Like again, kind of like this gambling thing. Like you pay money to play the game and to get good at the game, but you're not really good at the real thing that it represents.
It's Wild Gunman, by the way.
Wild Gunman, thank you.
Yeah, and that's Elijah Wood right there, by the way, too. That kid. It's a very, very young Elijah Wood.
What year was this? I remember dressing like that. What year was that?
You remember dressing like that? Like what does that even mean? So like I think it was 1990 is when Back to the Future 2 comes out, but it's supposed to be 2015, which is weird because then this hat is from the past already. Which is hard to deal with for me psychologically. I mean, that Back to the Future took place 30 years before, right? So like from 1985 to 1955. But that means today, Back to the Future, if you were to go back in time 30 years, the 1950s would be the 90s. Like 1995 is basically the 50s. That's crazy, right? Isn't that hard to deal with? I feel like that's hard to deal with.
That might be something personal you're working through.
Emotional, yeah. Ever since I saw The Simpsons and realized that Homer Simpson's 35 to 38, that's pretty hard. That's emotionally draining. I don't know, but the Wild Gunman, man, that's like there's something about that for sure. This little Elijah Wood character, Elijah Wood. Because he's not just in Lord of the Rings, he's also in The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin. So there's this sort of Home Alone antithesis to this little guy. And, look at his weird hat, which reminds you of Batteries Not Included, which I think is another thing because there's like a spiritual level to it. If you remember Batteries Not Included.
Of course. Yeah, that was produced by Spielberg, right?
Dude, and Wendy Shaw was in it as well, which I think is, always a weird, good sign for sure.
Oh, this is where the robot is trying to take care of like a poor apartment building or something.
The robots.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're like an alien race that like are using our technology to hold their spirit. So they're an AI system that, has evolved beyond biological life forms and use whatever technology they can. And they come to a part of New York where I feel like all the buildings around them are rising into high rises, and they're the last holdout. It's the last building that they're not. It's like a 3 or 4 or 5 story building that they're going to replace.
Dude, that's the woman. That's Jezebel, Isabel from Jacob's Ladder. That actress.
Oh, interesting. Hold on. Yeah, go back to
I've never
that.
been
That's
one
crazy.
for biblical names, and he's like, what do you think it's about? Like, in the Bible, she falls from the building, right? She dies this gruesome, horrible death, and she's like equated with Lilith and everything else, it's like to be a Jezebel, it's like, Jezzy, you're such a heathen, Jezzy, because she's a demon, because she's not even real. Like, she's she's playing his wife after, while he's in hell, But yeah,
it also came out in 1990, the same year as Back to the Future 2 and 3. So,
I just want to be clear about if I'm going to talk about Jacob's Ladder at all. Jacob's Ladder, in my view, is like basically, God, what's the name of that guy he did Fatal Attraction? He's the guy who directed Jacob's Ladder. He also did the Lolita, the remake of Lolita, right? So the guy,
really?
Yeah, so like, in my view, like, Jacob's Ladder is like combining Adrian Lyne, thank you. So like, Adrian Lyne like took The Shining and Full Metal Jacket and basically made them into one movie in this weird way, because it's got that evil reincarnation cycle where life goes on even though the person's dead. Like, it's all the death trip. Like, sorry, spoiler alert for Jacob's Ladder, but like, that's the thing. And then it's Macaulay Culkin who walks him up the ladder at the end. Like, Macaulay Culkin's his son because he's like home alone, and he's like, hey dad, you're back, and then he's like walks him up the stairs. But like, there's like something really weird happening because it's totally like Full Metal Jacket, right? Like,
what did he make with Jodie Foster? What was the one he did?
Oh, I don't know. What is it? What did he do with Jodie Foster? Good question.
Oh my God, because he did so many important movies. Like, he did Flashdance, which is clearly about the satanic work. It's like a Gurdjieffian kind of thing. And let's see here, Jacob's Ladder, Flashdance,
he did Flashdance. I didn't know that he did. I didn't know that he did Flashdance. But every time
oh yeah, it's
that's also
important.
about
Flashdance is way,
right?
Wait, that's her. What is that her? I can't even remember. That can't be her. Was the same girl? What's her name?
Right?
No, what's the name? What's
Jennifer Beals?
Jennifer Beals. I should have known that. That can't be her though. Just kind of.
No. She's in
I knew
she's in Book of Eli. She's in Devil in the Blue Dress, and she's in 4 Rooms, the Tarantino segment film. That's so great. One of the best Tarantino works, actually, with Tim Roth also.
That scene in Jacob's Ladder when she's like, when there's like they're at the party and she like turns into a demon, and they're all surrounded by demons. It's almost like Fear and Loathing when he's right in the middle of a freaking reptile zoo or whatever. It's like that, you know what I'm talking about? And they're like dancing to funk or whatever, and then he like freaks out and has like a seizure and like ends up on the floor. Like, that scene, the way that they're dancing actually always reminded me of Flashdance, and I didn't know that Adrian Lyne directed Flashdance. I'm not hugely hip to Flashdance or
Flashdance is weirdly deep movie, obviously, because how would you were saying you thought it was like MK Ultra because she wants to be a dancer and she's a welder, or what's your deal?
It's either about dying or it's about MK Ultra flashback, or maybe a mixture of both. My impression of that was always that it was a representation of putting these soldiers on LSD and then having them cope with all sorts of horrific war crimes or things that they may or may not have done, and that this was almost this concept of like acid flashbacks, when those used to be like a big thing that everyone used to talk about.
Oh, flashback, Flashdance. Having a flashback, I'm having a flash dance. Is that what you like? Because that's the thing and so Jacob's Ladder is supposed to be inspired by an actual drug that was given to soldiers that they experimented to see if they could
MK Ultra
violent killers, right? Yeah, but
everything's about MK Ultra. That's easy.
Well, yeah, because MK Ultra was the exclusive project of the CIA that was able to procure and use psychedelics. That was kind of under their jurisdiction at that point. When it was OSS, it was a little bit spread between naval intelligence and then little bits of OSS. But once the CIA came into to actual being, pretty much all LSD or any psychedelic related experiments fall under the jurisdiction of CIA, their budgets.
Go with you on like Jacob's Ladder. Jacob's Ladder is clearly like almost, I wouldn't say exclusively, but definitively about the post-traumatic stress of a soldier. It's very, I would say, from the director of Fatal Attraction, by the way, which is something else to talk about.
It's too Glenn Close for comfort, but yeah.
But this is a MK Ultra movie. Yeah, there's no question that I think Tim Robbins has made himself very clearly an MK Ultra character in a lot of the movies that he's done, right? Like that's kind of
the deleted ending. They changed that. So like there's like the way that it went originally before they cut this movie different was that guy that he meets up with that gives him the whole story of like that really like spills the beans on what happened to him, you know, while he's in hell, by the way. So it's like it's so twisted, but he gives him an anecdote to like to shake him out of this thing that he's gotten himself into. And so like that the government got himself into, you know. And the anecdote like makes everything intense, like it's going to be darkest before the dawn kind of thing. But then like he goes through this whole process to purge himself of this demonic, you know, drug shit that he's all wrapped up in. And then like afterwards, it's like, oh, it's still here. It's like, and then they realize like this whole segment, like even despite special effects and everything that they did that gets super epic, like it didn't need to be there. So they like literally like just cut out a section of this movie that were like, well, that was pointless kind of, but I like it better with it. Like, I think they should have left it, you know, like, I don't know why they didn't, honestly.
I mean, and Tim Robbins did so many freaking MK Ultra, you know, where I think Shawshank Redemption, even kind of this idea of someone who's like forced to do something against their own identity and to become a new identity in a prison.
Hudsucker Proxy.
Hudsucker Proxy was the one I was just trying to remember the name of. That was exactly right.
Talk about
and also Human Nature, for the love of God. Do you guys remember Human Nature?
Yeah, no, that's good.
That
that's
movie
Patricia Arquette.
Dude, that's probably Patricia. That's one of I hasten to say one of Patricia Arquette's best films, arguably. I mean,
yeah, you gotta see Jake Coates' video.
I don't know if I've seen this.
You've never seen Human Nature? I was worried. That's why I wanted to say it. Dude, Human Nature is one of those gems that people miss, and so that's why I wanted to bring it up. I mean, it's right there with Hudsucker Proxy. He's a doctor who is taking this Tarzan-like man who was found in nature, and Noah's entered the studio. Noah, look at you. Howdy. Look at you, you beautiful man. I had facial hair like that like a week ago. I just went to a cafe called the Pink Floyd Cafe. So I see your t-shirt. It's already synced with my day. So that's very good. Have you seen Human Nature? Do you remember this movie where Tim Robbins trains a man to become civilized? And then the guy realizes that human civility is a Eurocentric ploy to control the lower instincts of man, and he becomes an Ubermensch?
Yeah, this is so Hairpiece. The film from the video from Jake Coates.
And Marilyn Manson. Sorry.
It's on Vimeo. It's kind of a must see. Like he analyzes Patricia Arquette's whole career. She watched it. Patricia Arquette watched it on a Radio 8 Ball that she was a guest on.
Really?
And but yeah, she's got a theme with hair throughout. Like her totem is hairspray. Like
that's what I wanted to. That's the thing. So like Marilyn Manson, Marilyn Manson. Charles Manson, super known for having women covered in hair. Charles Manson, hairy women. You know, I make sure the moderate safe search is on. But he had his girlfriends were beautiful women, but they were covered in hair, kind of like the Harry Mary thing. No, eventually, but like, they were super hairy. They had problems. They couldn't help from growing body hair all over, which is like the Harry, Mary, Madonna pictures. If you look at the pictures from medieval times of Mother Mary, and we've covered this before. God, I wish the internet would have been a little bit faster here. I'm using my phone to actually do all this, but come on now. Yeah, like all the pictures of the Virgin Mary. Stop censoring me, Google and Microsoft. Oh, it's like a burlesque show, lowering the Virgin Mary slowly. She's covered in fur from head to toe. So that was something that he had mentioned. He's like, well, you know, you're not ugly, Charles Manson said to his girls. You're just like the Virgin Mary. You're like actually sacred because you're covered in so much hair. And this is something that echoes in the Human Nature film, because Patricia Arquette's character, she comes into this doctor who's trying to civilize people, and he's trying to take a dwarf and make him a bigger man. Of course, it's Peter Dinklage. And one of the major things is that the man that he civilizes from nature, who was raised by apes, realizes that human nature it's not even in nature. It's some sort of repression technique that's designed to keep you from fully realizing your potential. And he tells this woman that she's beautiful, even if she's got hair all over her body. In fact, that's what he's used to because he's lived with apes all of his life. So he sees that as like the primordial true nature of being. And so she finds that perfect, and she ends up falling in love with the Tarzan man kind of thing.
You're just describing Encino Man.
Dude, Encino Man is so important for so many reasons. I was just bringing this up the other day as well, because you know that every single Pauly Shore movie has Encino Man in it.
Is it because it has Pauly Shore in it?
So every Pauly Shore movie ever. So you know in Pauly Shore's Encino Man that Brendan Fraser roasts a frog in the chemistry class, right? Frog scene, right? There's that importance. Who could forget? It's very important. But then you go to I'm trying to find just so I can show you like the chemistry class. It does not. It was super important. But Brendan Fraser frog scenes, Pauly Shore. How about what if I type family? What's it called? Meet the Family. In Meet the Family, where Pauly Shore is in a college movie.
Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents.
Right?
Thank you.
Isn't that it?
You're a good man for reminding me of that. Is that right? Meet the Parents. Pauly
son-in-law? You talking about
son-in-law? Son-in-law. Jesus.
Thank you. We're trying here. Pauly Shore, son-in-law, Brendan Fraser. Okay, so this is the scene. So he's in every single Pauly Shore movie. So he goes to the party in the college, and then you see that Encino Man's in the college, and he's roasting a frog. He roasts a frog, so you know it's the same guy. It's always going to be Encino Man roasting a frog.
Isn't that the Bufo Toad?
Dude, he's in also in the army now. Brendan Fraser at one point at the MRI table.
He's not in Biodome. Does he show up in Biodome?
He does. I think he's in Biodome, doesn't he? I think it might have been deleted scene.
He's in a reflection in one of the panels of glass at like an exact moment.
And he's eating a fucking frog. I'll tell you what. Like basically every scene with him is him eating a frog, and he says in the MRI scene, it tastes just like chicken. I'm just noticing now that Morales is the army captain in this film, and he's in the new Mission Impossible. Right? Have you seen Mission Impossible 8, where they're fighting an AI entity that was created in Mission Impossible 3 or 4? It was the Lucky Rabbit's Foot of the Anti-God.
I think I'm still on 4. I don't even know if I've made it to 5 yet.
Right.
Oh, dude, there he is right there. You can hardly tell, but like Mission. It's probably the most Scientology one yet. It's
I'm in.
It's really,
I've got this whole theory on the very first Mission Impossible movie. The timestamp that it opens up on is the exact date that the Church of Scientology lost their court case against people that were leaking information about them online. And that exact date that happened is the date in the time code. So I really do think that the entire Mission Impossible movie series is Scientology disclosing dirt that they know about actual intelligence agencies.
Absolutely. I mean, the Mission Impossible scene where he's hanging from a the CIA scene, right? The most famous scene where he's hanging from the ceiling there, and he comes down looking for, and he drops his knife, right? You end up seeing the guy from that CIA clean room in Langley in the newest Mission Impossible film, because he ends up working they basically like sequester him in some Inuit village of snow in Alaska for the rest of his life to watch over a server farm, basically. I mean, there's so much to the movies, and basically the newest one's incredible because it points out all the connections that you might have not understood that I thought were kind of not pulpy enough, or they weren't specific enough in the older movies. Like in Mission Impossible 4 or 5, he has to get this weapon called the Lucky Rabbit's Foot. Hey, is Jordan there? I feel like Jordan just made it too. Jordan, you there?
Gentlemen.
Dude, what's up,
Sorry,
bro?
We're just talking right now.
It's all right. We're just talking about the new Mission Impossible movie. So if you've seen the new Mission Impossible 8, basically in Mission Impossible 7, you find out there's this AI entity that came from Russia that the Western programs helped educate, and it's become this self-aware intelligence. I mean, I'm not spoiling it because if you've seen Mission Impossible 7, you already know this, by the way. I'm just saying it's resolved in 8. But in the 7th movie, they interact with this super AI, right? It's just the secret story of my success. Bow, bow. Yeah, basically. So I don't know. Mission Impossible, it has Morales in it, which is pretty interesting because he's the guy from in the army now. That was all I was trying to say.
I think it's weird too that right now still it's pretty much sci-fi movies, that category that has references to AI inside the movies themselves, but 20 or 30 years, wouldn't just every movie have AI references throughout it? It would all seem like sci-fi movies.
There'll always be a wacky AI best friend sidekick in every movie now.
Did you guys see
Because everyone has one.
Strange Days with Ray Fiennes and Angela Bassett and Juliette Lewis? Like, that movie was an absolute flop, right? It cost like freaking $40,000 to make. I don't think it made, or million, excuse me, $40 million to make. I don't think it made 15 million. So like, and this is James Cameron's wife, right? So like this is like her like passion project or whatever, Strange Days. But it came out the same year as Johnny Mnemonic, right? Which is like, if you compare the two, you're like, okay, dystopian futures, both have virtual reality. But this is, in my opinion, is by far the superior movie. Like, say what you will.
Oh, clearly.
But it's trippy to me. It's like people weren't ready for Strange Days. Like, it's just super ahead of its time, you know. But yeah. Anyway,
I was trying to show you the scene, but it kind of blocked me out there. But there's a first-person kind of experience to it, which was totally self-aware of living in this digital era, which is pretty great.
It's made in 1995. It takes place in 1999. In the very first scene of the movie, pretty much, it's like during the opening credits, Ray Fiennes is driving in his car, and Marilyn Manson comes on. When all the Marilyn Manson had when that came out was Portrait of American Family, right? And like, you know, Columbine doesn't happen till the year that the movie takes place, right? And like, while he's listening to Marilyn Manson, they just happen to be talking about a school shooting, like explicitly. Like, and it's like, it's this movie is like so predictive on so many levels. It feels like one of the way more understated movies of the mid 90s. You know,
I got to throw in Existence too, which I think is a Cronenberg, right?
Yeah, in early synchromysticism world, people used to point to that movie all the time as like some weirdos like were insisting that there was like kind of this gay agenda and that Existence was the absolute proof of it. And it was always this weird thing where it's like, dude, that's obscure, dog. Like, Existence is a very obscure movie, and it feels like a continuation. Like, he just wanted to keep doing the same thing as Naked Lunch and like take it further. So it's got this William S. Burroughs inspired quality to it. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a William S. Burroughs book.
Totally. And I mean, I think Existence is totally underrated because I think it's the most accurate depiction of the dream world I've seen in film. Like, the way that it keeps taking elements from one layer and bringing it deeper, and all this weird sexual mixture with technology. Like, it's
Burroughs to the max. And I think if you're missing that component, then you kind of miss everything, honestly. Like, because like, you know, his books that it speaks to, it's like there's so many of them that it's like he took different parts from, and like it got made into one giant thing. It's like The Place of Dead Roads, and you know,
is there a more MK Ultra, like, well, you say country than Canada, but also person, I think, than Cronenberg. Right? Cronenberg seems like
the most. I was going to say William Burroughs.
I was going to say Burroughs. Burroughs was one of the very earliest, in my opinion, like leakers, maybe unintentional of actual CIA programs. Because the doctor, I'm blanking on the specific name, but the doctor that's in Naked Lunch, Benway is based on an actual doctor that was doing those actual experiments.
Yeah, he was in the know before most people on that. Like, you know, he had so much intel, and then worked it into his stuff. Like, as the Exterminator is super MK Ultra, right? Like, that was a play on that was.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, but I've got a theory based on very little, but that it actually came from Hollywood. So if someone like if any of these writers, like even Hunter S. Thompson, that they were introduced through like to psychedelics, maybe through the Hollywood connection, and
Mhm.
Hollywood got it directly from the military. And like one of the earlier guys was Cary Grant's doctor, who charged him like $200 a session, and then Cary Grant got turned on by some actress he was on because he mentioned migraines or something, or going through like a depression.
Dude,
And all
Jackie
of a sudden,
Gleason,
through
dude.
Cary Grant, it just spreads everywhere, and it goes into music. But like the original connect, like the plug was the military.
Oh yeah, for real. And a lot of people say that he was. I don't think it's true, but people would argue that Burroughs actually did do favors for the CIA, because if you get hired by the CIA, you don't always like that doesn't always get publicized. You know what I mean? Like nudge, nudge, not as good as a wink kind of thing. You know, but I don't know. That's speculative. I wouldn't necessarily argue that, but I would say that he was on some level he's a crazy operative. Like he doesn't have to be like from a technical point, but he's like in his own mind he would argue that same thing like with Terrence McKenna. But like people would say that he's literally like Terrence McKenna is literally an agent, or that Burroughs is literally an agent. I don't think so. I think their view of Central Intelligence was like psychedelic, like it's in another realm, you know.
I think you can cast a pretty wide net when you include unwitting agents or unwitting assets, rather, right?
Sure, that
Like
works.
you're aligned, and if a CIA agent just happens to tail you, now they get all the intel they needed. It's potato tomato a little bit.
Right. Yeah, for real.
You guys seen Crimes of the Future? Like not the new one he made, but the original one from 1970 in his college in Toronto. This is like a super important Cronenberg one to check out. Crimes of the Future. Let me see if I can find like a little shot of it. Basically, it's about like a weird. Come on, Crimes of the Future, 1970. It's a film from his college about kids. I think you get the whole thing on YouTube. Please God, don't black it out. Thank you. And it's about kids who get some weird virus that make them like sexually insane, animalistic.
You've got a theme.
It's very Clockwork Orange, very Burroughs, very. It's his take on Kubrick. Honestly, this is one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. Really, I mean,
Wow.
I love Canada on like a sick level, but this is one of the movies you should all really give a shot to.
Okay.
Because they basically, it's a quarantine virus that ends up destroying the civilization, and everyone around his college becomes like sexual deviants that become androgynous and start to be really into sadism. And it's called Crimes of the Future. I don't want to ruin it.
25 years ago or something. Yeah, this is weird. Yeah, it does have a Clockwork Orange type quality to it, doesn't it? But you know, the thing with Cronenberg is like once he like I don't know like his whole earliest career completely, but I know that if you look at Videodrome and the special effects of Videodrome, like that thing that he carries with him at to that point from film to film, to me it just feels like it's so Giger inspired. Like because and you look
like the
it's got-
organic computer.
it's got
that, like,
Debbie Harry, who so there's a sync with Cuckoo, Debbie Harry's first album, Not As Blondie, where she changed her hair and she teamed up with Giger and they made these crazy music videos. He did the album cover. They were like got really close, like, and there's like you could throw accusations as far as like it feels very satanic, like
I
real.
gotta throw another
We'll
MK
define
Ultra reference in
satanic.
here.
Look
Because
at it.
the Tingler with Vincent Price, which is also the very first movie that ever referenced LSD. The opening shot, he's got a book and it says LSD 25 on the spine. But
Right.
this movie was about this like entity that they were manifesting that would actually like pure fear, if condensed enough in the human body, would turn into some kind of alien like lobster looking thing. But
Right.
this always felt like this like weird Cronin, because at a practical level, as they're shooting this movie, it's kind of the same as these weird biomech monstrosities that you see in Cronenberg films later on too.
Right.
It's very Scientology, also like After Earth with Will Smith. They have that kind of similar thing, like a fear sentient being.
Yeah, look up, type in like Debbie Harry HR Giger and just watch, because there's a bunch of the videos that she made for Cuckoo with him, and like even like there's obviously the album cover and stuff in imagery, but like I mean what they did together, like look up videos, videos in the same capacity, like what the hell is going on here? Like it's so insane. The videos that they made together are like kind of like they're like a ritual. You can click on that one.
She kind of like a Star Trek character, maybe
jump into
Voyager in that one.
That video, yeah, like just like there's
It's like
the-
Captain EO from Michael Jackson. It's amazing.
yeah, there's this is a good video to watch the whole thing. Not that we're gonna do it here, but like just like if you see the way that they whatever project they were doing together, like Giger and Debbie Harry, like in that bodysuit that she wore and the thing, it feels like they're like it feels Crowley, and it feels like they're or like at least like Golden Dawn-esque. Like there's something like even actually not even that. It feels like Satanism. I'm sorry, like it
Well,
gets
I'm really curious what
so
you mean by that, actually, because I agreed with you when you said earlier that there's Crowley. That's what I was trying to say about Flashdance, right?
Yeah.
Flashdance is such a weird satanic working, like very Crowleyan working film, because the fact that she's a metal worker doing the outer work and the dancing is the inner work and the synthesis of both of her initiation, and she's being initiated and being like acclaimed for her ritualized eros. I mean, it's 93, it's love. I mean, in every way that people think of Satanism, except for like your average Christian that's afraid of it. I think like Flashdance is the ultimate satanic working.
What's the Italian one with I'm sorry, you have to say so. I'm gonna
H.R. Geiger, if anything other than Satanism, it's more like Ahriman, right? Because he's bringing in like clockwork machinery into the organic. So it's almost like the ultimate like working to bring complete control over the organic.
Right. And it has like this kind of like organic technology as one. Not even like synthesized, but like as one. It's so creepy.
Because it's also sexualized, it implies that machinery is now procreating.
Suspiria? There's the night.
Yeah, Suspiria with Jennifer Connelly.
But no, I don't think Jennifer Connelly was in it, was she?
I'm mixing up that one.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, okay, there it is. That right there. Like there's this communication that happens with Suspiria, with actually both of them. The 2019 remake even more so. But it's that the dance is literally like a ritual that is achieving these like things will play out in the world connected to the ritual of the dance. Is done in a very particular way, and that's why I said Crowleyan, because it's like, but it's goes beyond that, because Crowley wasn't a Satanist, despite what some people might say. But like because there's he would laugh at that, it's funny, like the idea that Satan could be, more powerful, that the adversary could be more powerful than the thing it's, coming up against. But
there are like magical traditions where they're working with Satan, more the devil than Satan, really, as different entities, but like as an entity that you go to make bargains, not necessarily for your soul. That's kind of like a blowing up of it, but the sort of crossroads deals. People would like leave offerings at crossroads and be like, yeah, I really need to.
What happened is that Mephistopheles got associated with Satan, and one is an entity that can make your dreams come true at the cost of your soul, whereas like Satan is a little crazier than that. Like if you're talking about the creation myth, it's or the creation allegory, we can say, in the nature of knowledge and sex. But
there's also these old folk practices where the devil is something else entirely. It's really more of a trickster spirit. So
absolutely,
it's a whole separate stream.
Yeah, Amelia Cataldo edited a book on the devil about that's just going over devil folklore and all the different versions of it.
Which is really more what the tarot devil is really more along that line. It's like giving up your agency to attain something.
I mean, there's definitely something about that.
I posted a name in the chats. It's Hans Belmer. But if we're gonna like go through the Cronenberg, the H.R. Geiger style aesthetics, you got to throw Salvador Dali and you got to throw Hans Belmer in there too, which all had these weird mechanical mixed with organic, like uneasy figures that became like a motif for him. Yeah, this is Hans Belmer stuff.
Oh, that's amazing.
This is 1930s.
No way.
I think this might be. I don't know if this is
going to be printing and framing on my wall here really soon. That deserves to be a G Clay right there. I wonder if I can get it in high def. That's incredible. I want like a high resolution of that. Super cool.
I think that's a Mid-Journey image based on his aesthetics. This is actually turning into dead internet theory, where you go and search for the work of an artist, but all you find are images generated using his aesthetic as like part
Right. It's so frustrating, dude. I know. I do that with Giger. I'm like, is that a Giger? But no. That's okay. The comments are getting weird over here, dude. Like somebody's like saying Zach Galifianakis. No, wait, who was it? Who did they just say? Andy Milonakis is in that movie too. Remember him? What movie? What are they talking about? What movie is Andy Milonakis in?
Jacob's Ladder.
Andy Milonakis is in Jacob's Ladder. No.
He's old enough though, right?
Oh yeah, what movie is he in?
We're gonna be here for a minute. He's been in a lot, hasn't he?
I mean, I don't know.
It looks like his first movie is 2005. I only heard about Milonakis since 2005. So
seriously, he had the show, the Andy Milonakis show.
Yeah, but wasn't that like 2005 when that show happened?
Oh shit, was it really? I thought.
Yeah,
it was really
dude. I think.
What do I know?
Maybe.
All right. Well, you scroll this. Put on Carnival 9 by Emerson Lake and Palmer if we're going to be doing H.R. Geiger. We'll just listen to that.
You have to link me to find these things. I don't know.
We could get copyright will get us on that.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking because H.R. Geiger did the cover to that album, and the name.
I thought Brain Salad Surgery. Is that
yeah. Well, Carnival 9 is like the whole second side, but there's like a phallus hidden in the throat of the like robot demon thing on the front, and Brain Salad Surgery is like an oral sex reference. So. I kind of slid it under the sensors there.
Yeah, I years ago, like in like junior high, I tried to play with Brain Salad Surgery with different sync experiments, but I didn't come with anything. But I will say that Faust syncs perfectly with Marilyn Manson's album The Pale Emperor, which I was going over watching it again and again with the English version, and I was like, it feels like it's almost there, but it's not doing that next level that I was like looking for. It's like it resonates it, but it wasn't like anything happening with the timing where I'm like, holy shit. And then I played it with the German version and it freaking landed. And it's like they got the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in one of the opening shots, and it's like on the when they show up, like there's like it's a crazy sync. It's on my Twitter, I believe, and it's probably on the website too. But yeah, watch the German version of the silent film Faust, which used the what's his name? There's Marlowe. And there's I always forget how to pronounce that. Who's the painter who did the Witch's Sabbath and all that with the goat and everything? What is it? Goth? Is that how you say his name? Yeah, Goth. There's two versions of Faust, and the movie version. Actually, the silent film went with his version because the difference being that Faust gets redeemed at the end. Like he actually ascends. Like he's like, it's okay. Yeah, Witch's Sabbath. Thank you. Goth. So they used this guy's ending for the film, which is actually surprisingly the positive ending. Marlowe's is the negative one, where it's just eternal damnation kind of thing.
So I guess
redemption.
Egerton's witch movie is basically just a film version of that painting.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it, but the self-baptism in Flashdance, right? How satanic is a self-baptism?
Elvira did it in Mistress of the Dark too, but it ended up being like gasoline and whatever, tar or something. She's like,
if we're talking Goth and we're talking Hollywood and Satan too, I got to mention that the very first Hollywood movie to feature Satan explicitly was Faust and Marguerite, which was shot by Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison brought the very first depiction of the devil in Hollywood was from Thomas Edison.
No way.
Faust and Marguerite. And it was it was a remake of a movie that had been made 3 or 4 times already by, I think, Italians, Germans. Like it was this recurrent. His was maybe the inferior one, but it was the first American Hollywood shot one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is right here.
Oh, dude, careful with the copyright, dude.
From 1900 though, I feel like they can't.
I'm joking.
You're joking at the same time. We're in a weird world right now, man.
We could, they could be like,
what happens is certain companies will digitize the open source the public domain footage, and then they'll copyright their digitization of it.
Right.
I had to fight from the
1980s.
This is my screen. You're recording my projection wall. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. We looked at this is called A Good Hang, and we talked about Aubrey Plaza being a witch before, and I just wanted to bring up how weird it is that she went on a podcast called Good Hang Podcast to talk
like
about,
right after we talked about her like that.
Yeah,
Just
right
like
after her
came up.
husband died, she's talking about her dead husband hanging himself on a podcast called Good Hang.
Right.
I
Were they
mean,
separated? Are we gonna?
They were separated. What does that even mean? They were separated since September, and then he died sometime earlier this year. So
You know what? Like bad things happen. You just got to swing with it. Okay.
you gotta swing with it. Are you really taking the hang? Come on, Canadians.
Sorry.
I blame your entire country for that one. That was the
Hey, how do you feel about the new South Park just like making Trump into a Canadian for some reason? Like, what's that about?
Well,
He's only Canadian because Saddam Hussein. Sorry.
That's it.
So, but why was Saddam Hussein Canadian? Like
that is one of the great mysteries of South Park. One of the beautiful, great mysteries of South Park. I love how much service they're doing to their ancient mythology in this season. Like they're bringing stuff like that up.
They're proving something, and I don't know whether it's or not. Something major is happening. Yeah,
you have to look at if you really look at it. Canadians are British, and the British have. Hey, is this you back, bro? I see what you're saying. Yeah, the British people, they end up having the flappy heads and the talking things. So Canadians who have British quality end up having. It's really not Canada's fault that they're floppy headed like that. In fact, they're slightly different in Newfoundland. They're slightly different in French Canada. There's no Canada like French Canada. The real and so Saddam Hussein South Park is actually more like Ben Affleck also falls into this for being New English. They're saying something about maybe Tavistock. I'm not sure exactly how deep it goes, but there's a very specific characters which are in and of themselves caricatures. So it's a deeper seated level, I think, to some extent. It's nice, I think, because they want to escape Garrison from having to play Trump, and so this is the way to do that, right?
Which was great, having the whole town show up with pitchforks to Garrison's house and being like, "What are you guys talking about?"
He's watching White Lotus with Aubrey Plaza. Yeah, no, I don't know.
And he was watching White Lotus with Aubrey Plaza. That's exactly what he was doing in South Park.
Can I take just 1 minute to just go on a quick rant around what I'm perceiving here? Please. So what happened with Stephen Colbert, right? Stephen Colbert doubled down right after Paramount settled with Trump, right? So Paramount settled over their whole issue. And what did Stephen Colbert do? He said no on live television and said like he's gonna continue despite their settlement in court, right? So then Elizabeth Warren then says that the reason Colbert got canceled was because of bribery, because Paramount has been bribed. So what does Paramount do but make this giant deal with the makers of South Park and allow them apparently to be as extreme as they can possibly be with Trump? So whether intentional or not, or whatever the hell, it proves that what Elizabeth Warren is arguing makes zero sense. Because how could, and then Jesus on the Mount, Sermon on the Mount, in the first new episode, he's saying, you guys, you saw what happened to Colbert. We don't want that to happen to us. They could cancel South Park, dude. And you know that that's a joke because they're airing it. This didn't go past that. Like, no, they didn't not screen this. Like, they screen the thing. That's what they do. They don't like, oh, they pulled one on us. Oh boy. Like, no, they spent that much money on them. That was the deal. It was to demonstrate that it's not that we're getting bribed, because that was bad press for Paramount. And then also that their prime focus, come on, guys, is to make money. If the political tide shifts, they stick out their finger in the wind and go, oh, which way is the wind blowing? What's going to bring us the more? Like, his show was failing. They said it was financial. It makes total sense. He was losing an insane amount of money because they just weren't getting the views that they used to get. On streaming services, they're going to get more views. Compare Joe Rogan to freaking Colbert. Look at the numbers. Hello, or even CNN, whatever the hell. Like, they have to go with the time. Sorry. Okay, Andrea.
No, it's absolutely correct. That's I think the irony of Elizabeth Warren is she keeps making herself look more and more like a psychopath.
Terrified. She looks like a freaking freaked out scared shitless librarian, dude. She's oh my god all the time. Like, Jesus Christ.
I also
her voice
think
is terrifying.
They're trying to make an actual Howard Beale from Network, But the problem is that you can't make a Howard Beale out of a comedian that used to be like a satirization of himself.
Right.
Like Howard Beale went from what like a Walter Cronkite, maybe minus Bohemian Grove, and then he got pissed off, right? But like whenever I just Colbert or Stewart or any of these guys get pissed off, it's like a theatrical bit, which is ironic because this is also a very theatrical pissed off, but we're talking like theater kid pissed off versus Howard Beale pissed off.
Absolutely right, because the thing with him was that in the storyline of Network is that he was an established anchorman journalistic guy, whereas Colbert was just a play on Bill O'Reilly. Like that was his original shtick, was like coming out of Strangers with Candy, and it's like I can do another satiric version of Bill O'Reilly and just make fun of that whole thing.
It was
and
so good.
And Bill O'Reilly was just a play on Rush Limbaugh, which is just like a caricature of Jim Morrison. Alex Jones doing Bill Hicks, right?
There was a trajectory that Bill O'Reilly was on where he could have gotten into Alex Jones territory. I think one of the very oldest clips I've ever seen of Bill O'Reilly was him questioning the official Warren report on JFK assassination. Like he was going down these angles, and then you can see clips of him in like the early 2000s where he's basically calling people heretics for mentioning JFK assassination.
Why didn't Harut ever do like a no spin zone DJ, like scratching a record? No spin, no spin. That would have been pretty good. I feel like there's something there.
It wouldn't have played to the demographic for sure.
You know, there's some evidence, David, to what you're saying about South Park, because they have talked about how the first episode they had to have arguments with Paramount about how to have the phallus, and they had to put eyes on it. So, you know, they had conversations. It wasn't like they slid it in at the last minute like they used to do sometimes. And, you know.
Right. And if you've seen 6 Days to Air or whatever, that documentary, like, you know how it works. It's not like they just stopped monitoring the show and saying they have to present it and see what they do. Simpsons, I was told by a Simpsons writer firsthand that the reason why they've endured for so long is because they're so quick and willing to compromise to any degree that the panel that they never even meet, like when they make the call, they'll confiscate a whole episode and say, okay, give us another one. This one's not going to do. And they lose all rights to it. And because they've been so submissive or cooperative, this shadowy panel of people, they just let them continue on. They're like, oh, you went with the program. You can, and they're encouraged to be subversive, but they don't even know for sure, like what it is that they're even looking for. They have to guess. So it's just like, are they going to like it? I don't know. And they may make them just change a couple things here and there, or if it's too much, they'll take the whole goddamn episode and then they're just like, okay.
I do wonder if now South Park's doing an episode every second week, if it's not because there isn't more censorship involved. Like they're really fine tuning the path they want to walk with how charged everything is right now. Because really, when South Park started, they were all about just being oppositional defiant disorder. Like that was their whole thing. Like whatever is the mainstream view, we're going to do the opposite just for the sake of doing the opposite a lot of the time.
Right.
And then you get to that point where woke got so charged, and it looks like they actually got nervous about their careers. They did that episode a few years ago where that like the whole joke was you have your cake and eat it too. So they make the jokes and then also have the sort of woke framing around it. And then the end is they're all, well, we can have our cake and eat it too.
Yeah. And this whole thing culminate. If they're going to do this right, and this is not what they're going to do, but I'm just going to say this kind of like fantasy football or something. If they were going to do this right, in my view, they do the whole season just getting crazier and crazier, just as they have been with Ice going to heaven and all this crap, and then they just have Elizabeth Warren just like wake up shaking from like a total fever dream, and this has all been like her paranoid fantasy, like
there's one character who's seen it all, and it's Tally, and Tally, from 1,000 little pieces. The fact that he sees all the human trafficking going on because he's the towel being used for all the wiping off, and he's just like tortured. I think they did something pretty good with that. I think it's pretty interesting where they're headed with this season.
Well, I think Tally dried for our sins.
I
need that t-shirt, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tally dried for our sins. Don't forget your towel. And Bill Hader is just so great that they came up with that. It was because they were going on a boat and Bill Hader just like threw that out there, just like, don't forget your towel. Like it was like a public, service thing. And then they're just like, oh no, that's a character. We're going to do that, But the ketamine thing, that's too true. It's too real. the micro dosing, and then you're just no longer, oh yeah, we're micro dosing, like as if
Well, microdosing used to mean, I hate to be like 5 or whatever, but like microdosing used to mean something, right? Like it used to be that you were taking like, like a half a hit or a tenth of a hit of LSD, and like, people were trying to open their minds. Ketamine seems like it's an anxiety medication that they're taking, so it's alleviating you from dealing with the real world. So it's kind of the
disassociative, which is that has its value. Like I can appreciate the medical value, therapeutic value of that, but yeah, they make a joke out of it that they're just doing this all the time, and then it ceases to serve that function. But
I feel like they're both kind of the same because LSD just takes reality away from you. Like there is no reality to be anxious
It can
about.
make you face certain realities too. Like it's what you make of it. It's not the thing in of itself. Isn't really like, it's not like you watch a movie and you're just a spectator. Like you're involved. Like, and this is going to be determined by what it is that you bring to it. Just like any ritual, it's like, I don't know. Like I do know that I had a friend who freaking got a deal with Maps. You might want to bring that up, Andreas, but like Maps is headed by this guy Rick Doblin, and they're like an activist for psychedelic type
Rick
group. Rick Doblin,
okay.
His name. And so he basically, I got a friend who was part of a research project for microdosing LSD, and he was supposed to just take this certain amount. I've actually been on a panel with this guy, but they had to take a certain amount, and over a long period of time, and they're going to look at the results and see what did this do for you, blah blah. He did it like a couple times the way as advised, and then he just ate the whole sheet, which amounted to however many hits that was, 4 or 5 hits, or I don't know what. And then he had to say that, and it's like, dude, like I was pissed, dude. I was so annoyed with him for that. Like I was like, dude, you've agreed to be part of this thing that they put all this, work towards, and then this is what you're going to do with it. Like it just, I don't know, man. Maybe
anybody who wears all that much white is even weird. First, there's Saturn worshippers, but then there's this whole other thing where you think you're more righteous than God, like the full Luciferian thing. But I mean, I'm not saying I don't like Mike Doblin. I'm not Rick Doblin. I'm not saying I have like.
I have serious issues with the elitism around the whole thing.
Like how can you be upset with Maps, being like I mean, it's a great group funded by George Soros, so right. Like, what do you want? No,
there's aspects of Maps that are actually straight up infuriating if you actually care about the value of psychedelics. Yeah.
Dude, I wonder how many microdoses Alex Soros takes to get to a new Kosovo kind of a thing. Did I tell you about Kosovo?
Chemicals, ones you haven't even heard of, probably.
Oh, come on. Now that's a low blow. I mean, really? You think Kosovo, Bill Clinton. I went to Kosovo, and aside from the human trafficking, the organ trafficking, and like the statues from Tartarian,
you sent me this,
dude, there's this North Korean kind of statue of Bill Clinton on Bill Clinton Boulevard with a lingerie shop called Hillary's right below it, and it crosses with George Bush like George Bush spelled with an X, George Bush Boulevard. And I don't know, I was never so impressed with Kosovo before, but I think now I understand it on a different level, because it is like the North Korean copy of America on every level. So many young people for $2 an hour, just like the 1990s. Like they really just want the 1990s back in Kosovo. It's pretty great. But I mean, like, what do you even do with this? And what is he even holding right there? Like, which one is this the third tablet? Is this the one that Moses dropped?
It's a Playboy magazine, right? No, what is it?
Probably, yeah. Which did have a lot of the articles were about God's law. So there's that track.
By the way, shout out to Brittany. She just sent me, I forgot she had mentioned it a while back, but she just sent me a Playboy. She sent me Playboys in the past for the articles. She sent me a new one.
What a lovely lady, right?
1968 with Marshall McLuhan interview.
Oh, you want to see
and Arthur C. Clarke in the same issue. So thank you to Brittany. It's freaking awesome. I showed it to Bill. Bill's super stoked, but yeah, not Bill Clinton, my housemate, Bill. Yeah.
You should have showed it to also that Bill. I think that's probably worth it. I had to be very careful. Okay, I was worried. I'm loading the article, and I was worried it was going to be the pictures. But yeah, in 1961, Marshall McLuhan, unknown to everyone but his English students at the University of Toronto, a coterie of academic admirers. This is where they shot Crimes of the Future, by the way, for the 1970 film by Cronenberg. talking about the Gutenberg galaxy in 1962, and the graying professors of Canada's western hinterland sound found himself characterized by the San Francisco Chronicle as the hottest academic property around. Yeah, do you have thoughts on McLuhan? What did you want to say about McLuhan actually?
Oh, McLuhan's essential. Is absolutely he's like a modern prophet, right? So like the things that he's described, I won't do it anywhere near justice. Bill's a better person to talk to, but from my understanding, I mean, he's literally like he was prophesying in like the 1960s. So influential to Pink Floyd, to Kubrick, to so many people in terms of media. Like Amused to Death from Roger Waters is named after him. He was, but one of the big things is like
Videodrome too, to bring it back to Cronenberg.
Oh, dude,
I mean, he's in
totally,
Videodrome,
all over the place because his thing is that you know things get replaced. So video kills the radio star, right? But it's deeper than that. It's that you go. Everyone's looking to the glowing thing, whatever the current means is. That they're like, here's the source of our information for us to get a grip on what's going on, right? So like. You talk about the Gutenberg, it's the printing press gets invented, everyone's what we do with that, where we go with that, but that the thing that replaces it, it's there in the midst, and people like topically, like the population, like people will still be mesmerized by one medium even though another medium is simultaneously taking its place. So consider like the vision of that from back when, being like, there's going to be a medium that takes off that's going to be bigger than television. And at the time, people are like, bigger than television? You know what I mean? But it's like, because of the interactive elements, because of we're going to need to, you know, it's going to be a communications thing beyond that. Like, and that, you know, the people who are still fixated on the television will still be hypnotized by it and still be mesmerized by it while this other thing is taking its place. And then at some point, something's going to supersede that, and everyone's going to be fixated on this medium. But it's all one chain. It's all one. It's not even a chain. It's literally like a current. It's like a stream that's moving, and we're looking at the different expressions of the thing as though they were like totally separate, when really they're just distinctions in this larger freaking snake or whatever you want to call it. Like the thing is moving forward, and we're fixated on the past as though this is the future. Like, and then you know people, before we even realize it, it's exponential too. So the next thing will take over. We'll be like, wait, where are we now? You know, like I can't do his thesis justice there, but he's one of the people that's like at the forefront of that acknowledgement of that the medium is itself the message. Like it's that there is this medium, goes beyond what you're seeing on the screen is one thing. It's like Black Mirror. Like it's called Black Mirror because you got your television there. When it's off, it's just a black mirror. That's what it is. And it's like, yeah, right. Scroll. Yeah, exactly. And like it's crazy. Yeah.
If you guys are gonna deep dive Marshall McLuhan, you should have Linus Minimax back on.
Totally.
He actually attends their like meetings, the McLuhan Trust meetings and stuff. He's deep.
Yeah, in fact, like if he was on right now, I'm sure he'd be not necessarily debunking what I'm saying, but he'd have so much to add to it that it would dwarf my take, you know, because I'm no expert on McLuhan, you know, but I can appreciate what the bits that I do.
Well, it's a pretty open-ended philosophy, right? Like you can take it in a lot of different ways. It's not, you know, he's not proving one thing. He's
right.
He's just opening your mind to different possibilities for the most part.
Totally. Yeah. If I had to choose between McKenna and McLuhan, I'm always going to go McLuhan. Sorry. You know, say what you will, but yeah.
What's the beef with McKenna?
I don't have a beef with McKenna. If I had to choose between the two, because I've listened to them both and I've read them both, is that McKenna has it's like a chrysanthemum spinning in hyperspace. Like there's an edge to his thing that it's like it doesn't feel as, I don't know.
Well, hold on. You did the voice, so I assume you're not talking about he's too hard to listen to since you're so pro RFK.
It's not about his voice itself. It's about that it's like a chrysanthemum spinning in hyperspace. Like, okay, bro, like it's cool. It's gonna be like, you know what I'm saying?
You're saying Time Wave Zero was not a coherent
There's only so much
formula?
of that.
I'm not saying it's not coherent. I'm just saying compare it to McLuhan. I'm just comparing it to McLuhan. That's all I'm saying right now. Like, and if it's up to me, like I'm just saying, if I had to choose between who I'm gonna who I'm going to take in more, who I'm going to gravitate towards at this point, having been exposed to both. I'm going to go in the direction of McLuhan as the greater interest of not just authority. This isn't an appeal. It's just that's where I'm going to gravitate. That's my proclivity. Okay.
Philosopher
Could be wrong about my proclivity. Just saying.
Man, does anybody feel bad that they missed the Gathering of the Juggalos as much as me? Speaking of Terrence McKenna, I'm just saying this year seems like Burning Man such a waste of time, and things are just so crazy. You got to be careful with the Gathering of the Juggalos pictures that could be showing right now. But just generally, it seems like that is the festival of the year. Like it's, as far as I can tell, the most free, the most American, the most truth. It's all coming out of the Juggalos' mouths, right?
Do you think there's a higher chance of Christ or Antichrist being born at a Gathering of the Juggalos?
I mean, it really depends on which venereal diseases you're concerned about.
Well, the Juggalos would be wanting the Antichrist, and so the child has to be the polar opposite of the parent. So it would be the
I feel
Christ.
like if you're trying to make it's like Krishnamurti. If like that you're trying to make the Antichrist, you're gonna end up having, like there's too many teddy bears. The one thing I'm concerned about is like there's so many ICP Juggalos that were 16 to 20 at some point, and now they're in their 30s and they have kids, and they're bringing their kids to the Juggalo event, and you got these like neon hair colored bushes like covering genitals of all varieties wandering around about eye level to all the toddlers that are being brought by their parents to the ICP Juggalo convention. I mean, the Gathering is maybe not a place for kids. It's one of the first. I mean, you ever get old enough to think that like it's not a place for kids? Like I think we're finally hitting that plateau.
If we bring it back to Harry Manson women, then the question is, if hair is like a receptor for divine inspiration, if you have fluorescent green pubes, are you still getting that genital information?
Maybe the chemicals. I imagine that it depends on like which shade of neon color you're using, because hot colors have certain kinds of plastics, and cold colors have certain kinds of metals in them. So depending on if it's green is heading towards a cold color, then you probably have more receptivity because of the punky color hair dye that you're using on your crotch. But if you're using pink or something like that, and it has so many, the plastics are different.
Neon pink, you get direct access to Valis, though. So
yeah, that's why I have
this
this light
makes sense.
like that. Yeah, that's
I mean, there's something about it. Just seems Tartarian as hell, right? There's a kabuki looking mask and all this shit. I'm pretty impressed with the ICP. I feel like they're the unsung heroes of the prophecy. These are the oracles of our time. And
pink is the highest level of goth, according to Marilyn Manson. If you can rock pink as a goth, then that's the highest level.
Well, because what were the goths' favorite Visigoths? What were their favorite colors? Crimson, periwinkle. Of course, it makes the most sense.
You make a very good point about so Philip K. Dick, he had this thing with the neon pink deal, right? And so I think it's in Kubrick's boxes. The what's his name?
John Ronson.
John Ronson's documentary, where he's showing that there's all these letters.
Just gonna put Thomas next to that girl because it just seems like what I mean.
I'm getting off this stream. I can't handle this.
Oh no. Where there's a letter from a fan or whatever, where they're analyzing 2001: A Space Odyssey, and him and Arthur C. Clarke would share these letters coming from fans. They would send them to each other, and then they'd circle things and comment on them and send them back and forth, like, hey, check out what this person saw or what they said. And there's one of them that gets highlighted in that documentary about the neon pink light and the significance of it from gleaming from the monolith during Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite in 2001: A Space Odyssey. And they had they didn't, I don't even know if they commented, they circled it and did exclamation points. So Kubrick was like, hey, look at check this out, Arthur. He's seeing this thing with the significance of the pink light in 2001. That it's in all likelihood because whether intentional or not, when Kubrick made the movie, he made the connection in all likelihood to Philip K. Dick's thing with the fucking neon pink. It's just
but it couldn't have been conscious because 2001 came way before the 2374 experience.
Mm-hmm. So right, but this is not from the time, right? This is later, like the letter.
Okay, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
so
I started reading the exegesis, and it's interesting that early on, he's talking about gold and red all the time. Like he's
Yeah.
not talking about pink light at all for the first year after it happened, which is really interesting.
That book is like the most insane book you could ever look at, pretty much. Maybe aside from Jung's Red Book, like it's so personal to him, but it's completely impersonal in the sense that just about, you know, any real psychonaut can look at that and be like, what, you know, like find it relatable in some way. Like I don't think Jung ever thought that anyone would be able to relate to the Red Book, and yet they can and do, you know.
Yeah, didn't plan on it. Because I'm deep diving Philip K. Dick's astrology and finding just wild mythological stuff going on. And it's kind of interesting because the first part of exegesis is all about retrograde time. He's just obsessed. He calls it orthogonal time, right? And just about time moving backwards, and that's the real time and everything. And it's funny because he's in Aries rising, and Mars is retrograde in his chart. And there's a lot more about that I won't get into now, but just in terms of it's retrograde in his chart, and via secondary progressions, basically a couple years before 74 happens, it turns direct. And so it's like he's been rethinking everything in time. And once his Mars turns direct, he starts to have to piece it all together as it goes through that part of his chart again.
I think Jordan, I want to pick your brain a little bit, or I want you to pick our brains or something.
No, man. Okay, I'll do my best. Nice to meet you guys, by the way. Noah, David, Thomas, obviously I know you guys. I know you and Andreas, but nice to meet you guys. But yeah, go ahead. I don't know if I'm enlightened as you on the topic, but try me, man.
No, any topic. It's just, you know, you're here in the group, and I feel like you're sitting there and you got something to contribute, and I want to know. You know, I said pick your brain, but maybe something else. I don't know.
To be honest, with the topic you're talking about right now, I have nothing to contribute. So let me pick up with the next topic, because I haven't read much Jung at all. I haven't read. Sorry, what was the book you mentioned?
Red Book.
Oh, no, the Red Book. The Jesus.
Exegesis of Philip K. Dick. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I haven't read any of that kind of stuff either. So.
Okay, I got something else I wanted to ask you guys. Do you guys have any esoteric theories on why the U.S. dollar is green? The color green.
Yeah. Green is the color.
Green is the color.
It's my favorite song from Pink Floyd, aside from Country Song. But yeah,
it's a nice one. So I was thinking about it, and green is the color of Libra, and Libra has this relationship to mercantilism, which as does Virgo in different ways. Like Libra is the sign of the scales, right? Balance, like what equals what. And it's the fall, so it's like you're harvesting, and then how much do you sell, how much do you keep yourself, has all these themes, right? And so green is the color of Libra, and that's Venus. But what's interesting is, so the US dollar is originally on a gold standard, right? Yes. It's 1-to-1. You can redeem your dollar for gold. And gold is correlated directly to the sun. It is the sun. Gold is the sun. It's one and the same. Now, what's fascinating to me is the sun is in fall in Libra. It's where the sun has like the least amount of power to be solar and to do its own thing. And it started to make me wonder, was the US dollar always designed to break the gold standard and move into
what is green for the Kabbalah, right? Separate. So it's like the Netzach. Is that right? Would you say like the Netzach? Yeah. So it's like victory. What would you describe the Netzach as, right? Like endurance and victory and everything else like that, right? Victoria. It's also 7, so it's infinity. You know, it's something that's like outside of the cycle. It's the full cycle. I mean, I feel like green is associated on levels like that with renewal and etc.
So Netzach is correlated to Venus and I think the Golden Dawn system. Like, do you use those planetary resonances in your Kabbalah, David?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It is also Venus.
Yeah. Keep in mind, if you were to get into the Ari's old system and stuff, then none of those correspondences are the same. But what's weird is that I've found texts from the 16th century from the Spanish Kabbalist Ramak, where he will actually point to the same attributions that supposedly came with the Golden Dawn, utilized by the OTO and others much later. So why is that? And even the pathways, that are supposed to be the attributions that you'll see from Kaplan and stuff, I'll see referenced by Ramak as they exist from the Golden Dawn. So you can't, and there's certain anomalistic mathematical things that are just the probability of them aligning the way that they do are just too much for this not to have a basis. So, I don't really know, so yeah, those correspondences, the shifts in them too, like have rationale behind them that actually just kind of imbues the meanings further. Like it's kind of hard to explain, like the relationship between like the sun and Mars, for example. Like the sun would actually not necessarily be equated with Tiferet, though you'd think it is because it's the center of the 7 lower Sephirot, right? Like it makes sense it would be the center, but it actually would be attributed to Gevurah. And then you're like Ra in Hebrew is evil, Gevurah, the sun, like why is it not? And then why is it now Mars? Well, it's Mars because now the judgments are severe. They ultimately don't need to be, because it would be God's judgments, which are like the sun, right? And you'll see that they're the 2 pillars that flank the Kabbalistic tree. You have the moon on one side with Chesed, and then you have the sun on the other. There, it's in every Masonic temple, right? It's like that's how Ramak attributed them. Yet with the Golden Dawn, we don't see that. We see Jupiter and we see Mars. And I'm convinced that the reason why it's Saturn and Beyond the Infinite in the book for Arthur C. Clarke of 2001 and why it's Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite in Kubrick's film is communicating something very meaningful and symbolic about the ascent up the Kabbalistic tree, which the movie itself, even the math, when it says the dawn of man, and then it says Jupiter mission 18 months later, and then it says Jupiter and Beyond the Infinite. If you add up the gematria of those titles, it totals 777, which is the gematria of the lightning flash that extends through the Kabbalistic tree, described in the Sefer Yetzirah, but only if you use the attributions from the Golden Dawn. So, like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like. But the Golden Dawn doesn't own those is the point. So that's a long-winded answer to a short question. But yeah.
Beautiful. Let me just say also thank you for the 5 gifted super chats from GZ Mac. You're a beautiful person, GZ Mac. I've been noticing you. I see you the way God sees you, as precious and wonderful. Everyone else who wants to support us, just so you know, you can always go to Xirtus.com. Or Andreas.me. Xirtus.com though, go and do the support thing. You can do like the support window right there. You can support us directly outside of the system, which is pretty based. Thank you for your support. Like we appreciate that. I appreciate that. I know that's a pretty big deal. What about, okay, so we talked about Geiger earlier. What about the new Alien Earth movie? So the Alien Earth movie has like a whole thing about transhumanism. It seems really interesting to me. Eddie Lynn had some issues with it because he's like, oh man, Hollywood's talking about transgenderism. I thought it was brilliant because you've got this idea of this sort of alien that's augmenting human existence, all while humanity's doing it to themselves, right? Like there's this whole thing about transgenderism that is sort of saying that it's the next alien in its own way, because it's we're not even all boys, we're half girls.
But this is Disney, right? Is this
this is Disney? Disney is I mean, I think not. I think this is post Snow White Disney talking about how the alien predator itself is actually an inferior, antiquated monster compared to the transgender ideology that is already mutating the human phenomenon into something that's far more terrifying.
But based on Prometheus, the aliens themselves, right? They are inferior because they're based on like a human's version of trying to recreate that original God particle.
Right. That's a good point.
Mythoclass getting in there with the extra super chat. Super chats are great. Super chat and memberships. We love you all. So just, you know what? I just give you some credit.
When I saw the Alien Earth posters and that this is happening, and I don't know because I haven't seen the show, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like it was kind of like this next level kind of reboot of Alien Nation, which existed in the early 90s, late 80s, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, I don't know, that's what it called to mind. But Alien Earth, Alien Nation, do you remember that show? The people with the crazy polka dots on their heads?
I remember that.
No.
Yeah. Alien Nation.
Okay, it's coming back to me. This is crazy. I don't remember this very well at all, though. But I kind of remember it's like species and the what am I thinking of? Society, species, max headroom mixed with the Coneheads, right? That was kind of the thing.
Coneheads is a good one, yeah.
Yeah,
dude, this is underrated for sure. I need to rewatch it.
It's got like like at the time like cultural, social like implications and issues that are like tied in. It's like the culture war of that period was like all up in that show Alien Nation. So like yeah, it's that. So I was wondering, I was like, are they trying to like capitalize on redoing that kind of thing, but like put it in today's ideological realm? And from what you're saying, just right off the bat,
Yes.
like I didn't know any of this. I'm getting the sense, yeah, that sounds like what they're doing.
I feel like they
strongly feel
were
it.
halfway to God, Family Guy creators version of Star Trek. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Somebody in the comments says immigrants, and that was the subtext. It all had to do with immigration, right? And like taking it the issues at the time, because remember, like it wasn't until recently, like this used to be a nonpartisan issue, like how people generally felt around the particulars surrounding immigration. Now it's become this supercharged like point of contention of like, are you on this side, are you on that side? Look at any old Captain Obvious here, but apparently it needs to be said. Look at any of the old speeches on the topic from Bill Clinton, Obama, any of these people, Bernie Sanders, all these people that the left knows and loves. Like it wasn't that long ago that their views on immigration mirrored what is the general consensus amongst right-wing people around illegal versus legal, going through the proper channels, all this kind of talk. Like it's become this like, I'm belonging to one wing, and it's kind of weird that happened. But this show speaks to a time when it wasn't a polarized issue of left and right, and that's why like this show Alien Nation could pretty much speak, like everyone could kind of see what they were saying, and it wasn't like a point of political divide. It was just like, oh, interesting, let's look at this issue and apply it if immigrants were literal aliens, like, yeah, same.
They like to drink milk in that show, it seems like. What's with the aliens and the milk drinking?
They
Is
want
it
to feel what it's like
Orville
to be a
name?
mammal.
It's because they were brothers from another udder. It was butter from another udder, excuse me. No.
But the Coneheads, especially the movie, also kind of represented that, right? Where it was obviously not taken because it was based on a Saturday Night Live skit, but the same thing was that they were playing on sort of social movements and like whatever the woke version was at that time. They were kind of leaning really hard, the same way that the Brady Bunch movie did. Like the Brady Bunch movie came out and didn't take itself seriously, but it also tried to plug into like whatever the social movements were going on.
Right. The Brady Bunch movie, there's like the two main Brady Bunch movies. You could go to the one where they go to the White House or whatever. That doesn't count. But like there's like a weird thing with like the Addams Family movies where there's like Addams Family and then Addams Family Values, because Family Values was the Clinton thing at the time where everything became about family values. Remember that was like the politically correct deal. And then it was like, and then the way they were like, we're going to be a satire on this thing that they're all talking about the family values, because it's the Addams Family. But the Addams Family is always like not always necessarily, but when they made those Hollywood movies, like they're like the antithesis answer to the Brady Bunch. Like it was like the dark and the light. Like I'm just saying. Like
Except it turns out the Addams Family were more like the Clintons than we knew.
Well, they were a satire on what the Clintons were pushing, right? Of what we need to get back to these good family values. Like let's just say that all the time.
Yeah, who's got the higher body count, the Addams Family or the Clintons family?
Ooh.
I don't know.
I'd have to.
Hard to tell.
Who would you feel safer at going to a family reunion?
Dude, you ever see like
Addams Family?
You remember like Norm Macdonald on like The View? And he talks about the Clintons. He's like, oh, the Clintons, they killed someone.
They killed someone. They're trying to bring him off of it, and then he just brings it right back. Well, I heard that he killed someone.
And it's so like not funny and funny at the same time.
So
yeah, that was brilliant. Yeah, it's true. Oh my god.
How come the Clintons get called out on their body count, but there's not like a Bush body count, and that there's a Bush body count?
Right. Well,
are you serious? Like, I mean, didn't George Bush's wife? Please help me. I'm sorry, it's been a minute.
Barbara died in 9/11. I don't know. Compare that to the Clintons. I don't know.
Laura
W.
Barbara.
Bush. No, not Aleister Crowley. I'm talking about George W. Bush's wife. What's
That's
her name
Barbara.
again?
Yeah.
Is that right?
No, that's
Hold on.
senior. Barbara's
No.
senior.
Yeah, W. Bush wife. Come on, man. Laura.
Laura.
Oh, the younger one. Oh, sorry. All right.
Dude, yeah. Is that what we're calling her now? The lizard lady that ran over her high school prom boyfriend and then backed up and ran over him again. Right? Come on. I mean,
2 times.
cool-
That was it. She
Dude,
didn't do it again after that.
no, but yeah, if you reverse your car over somebody and then run over them again, that counts as 3 in my world. I mean, 3's a charm.
Okay,
in a sense.
she stopped at 3 though. Let's give her some credit.
Oh man, prom boyfriend. What was it? And she was in like a Continental too, which is like, how much better is that? Boyfriend, prom, ran over car. Can I find
Those were
anything
metal
about
frames.
this? Dude, it was a good time to be
I
alive.
don't
It was the
think I
best
have
of
a
times. It
picture
was the
of it.
worst of
Was it
times.
Caitlyn Jenner and her? They like hang out. They like drink
They
margaritas.
went to the same
November.
driving instructor.
November 1963, fatal car crash when she was 17 and she ran
That was a
over.
bad month.
Oh man, I'm just saying, like,
Roderick was in their class too.
also, doesn't Iraq count or Afghanistan? Like, what do you when you talk about the Bush body count? Like, I mean, it seems like there's a good deal of
No,
death
but
in that
I guess
one.
what I mean though is that there's not a like a funny meme about it
Like a
as much
meme,
as the Clinton. Like the Clinton body count has been
There's
around
enough
since-
funny memes about this man. Are you kidding me? Like, I mean,
known. And if you talk to older Italian people who are like tied in, they'll tell you it's been known since Little Rock days. They're like, oh yeah, you don't mess with the Clintons, man. They'll take you out.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I mean, to
for
be
sure.
fair, Hillary was still in the game, whereas the Bushes are at least in the forward facing or out of it, right? So there wasn't a need for those memes in the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, Bush was so much more approachable on such a fun level. I mean, on so many levels. I mean, first off, he's in White Castle. Second off, he has an entire sitcom called "That's My Bush," like the greatest, probably the greatest show ever made, in a sense, like the best sitcom. And I've seen a lot of sitcoms. Carl Rowe, Princess Stevenson.
Hey,
I
I know
mean,
we've talked
it was-
about this. Why can't we? Why can we find episodes? We can find episodes of the show. Like you're showing us this clip right now. Can you find episodes of
I have
the
them
Trey
on
Parker,
DVD.
Matt Stone?
I have the
cartoon
whole
where
DVD.
they're babies?
I have.
No,
Oh,
can
the
you
baby
find the
show.
one where they're babies? Where it's Dick Cheney's like a baby who's like eating baby brains, like the whole thing. You know what I'm talking about?
It's called Lil Bush, I think.
Lil
Yeah.
Bush. Yeah,
And
can
the
you find
reason why
episodes of
that one's harder to find is Lil Bush was originally released on like Nokia smartphones. They weren't originally created for
The whole thing is
broadcast.
It was
on-
on television.
The whole thing. If you go to George W. Bush's YouTube channel, I'm not saying that that's his official
Oh, it's a full
page.
episode. Band rare.
You can,
Okay.
you can watch the whole thing. I mean, these episodes exist and they're pretty cute. I don't remember I don't think Trey Parker.
This came from Donick Carey too, who was I believe also a writer for The Simpsons.
Oh no, the one you're talking about with Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
I'm talking about That's My Bush.
Yeah, That's My Bush was Trey Parker, Matt Stone. This was I don't
which
know.
is also
that-
tied into
yeah.
The Simpsons actually, because Miss Crabapple, whatever, Crabapple, the Miss Crab. Well, Maggie Hawley played the maid for the White House. She also played Miss Crabapple for The Simpsons, right?
The bus driver lady? Is that
No.
The
She's our
teacher?
teacher who had the affair with
the
the
Simpsons.
principal.
I'm mixing up. I'm all over the place. Simpsons did it. No, I'm thinking
Miss
South
Miss
Park. Okay.
Crabapple. Miss Crabapple. I was having a hard time saying it. She smokes cigarettes. She has sex with the principal, and she's a great lady. I mean,
she got
she's one
Lyme
of the
disease
most.
too. Don't forget.
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman. But she played in That's My
R.I.P.
Bush as the long-term house cleaner of the White House, who was there for every president since the assassination of Kennedy. Basically, she was brought in right after that, and so she knows all the stories. She got all the dirt on all the people, and she's a fun lady. You know, that's like the idea of her. And then also, there's your favorite neighbor. It's your favorite neighbor because, like, you know, the White House, it's in like Beverly Hills, and of course, they have your favorite neighbor who comes over to the White House and drinks George's beer all the time. I mean, is there a better show? Is there a better show than That's My Bush?
When it was airing, I was always like, my friends would be like, we got to go do this. I'm like, no, I can't. I have to watch That's My Bush. I have to see this. It's not going to be on the air long. I have to see it now.
Right.
And I remember
Canadians
once
know.
going to visit my grandma and watching it with her because I was just hanging out with her. I was like, we're going to watch this now. She enjoyed the catchphrase quite a bit.
What was the catchphrase? You're an idiot or something? What was it?
One of these days, Barbara, I'm gonna punch you.
I'm gonna punch you in the face. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's so good.
Right.
But also White Castle. White Castle.
Or Laura. Would have been Laura.
The White Castle George Bush is basically Hunter S. Thompson, because what's that movie where Bill Murray plays Hunter S. Thompson? Please help me out here.
Where the Buffalo Roam.
Where the Buffalo Roam.
Oh yeah.
And if you remember that film, loosely based on the semi-biographical novel, there he is right here. You can see it's I think one of the better Hunter S. Thompson movies. One of my favorite Bill Murray scenes, and you can see like where he lives and how he's just doing cocaine at his house. That's literally the same. Look at the layout.
Right.
In every respect, it's literally the same place.
Damn.
And it is literally Hunter S. Thompson as George Bush, which is exactly what I think of when I think of George Bush. It's like, hey, you kids want to do some cocaine? Yeah, Laura's not here right now. All right, let's go do some cocaine. This is the time to do it. We got all this cocaine.
Friends with RFK Jr., and that's why RFK Jr.'s son made the Hunter S. Thompson movie, Fear and Loathing in Aspen, which I highly recommend people watch. No one freaking talks about it. It was like a total under the radar Fear and Loathing movie that's totally excellent.
Is it a movie? I thought it was a documentary.
It's a movie.
Oh, it is a movie. That's right. The 2021. Yeah. I was thinking of the Gonzo.
Okay. This is from RFK the Third. Like, he made this great movie about Hunter S. Thompson. The guy did a great job portraying him. It's a kick-ass movie. But yeah, totally underrated.
So deep on so many levels. I mean, I feel like look at there. You can see RFK's
Cheryl
wife.
Hines is in there. Yeah.
Cheryl Hines is in the movie.
Wow.
I mean, Fear and Loathing in Aspen is really underrated, actually. Of course it is, because we're not allowed to talk about good things. This is where we're not allowed to have good things, really. Oh, I love that
Trump
movie.
America.
We got Jesus in schools now. What are you going to do? Like,
No, it's like that was the funny of the first episode of the. Sorry, let's go back to the South Park when he says Jesus showed up at the school, like physically, like he's like, is he allowed there? Like it's like that Jesus literally showed up. Like, that was freaking funny.
And it just shows how they're so into just being oppositional to whatever's going on. Because originally the boys were friends with Jesus. And now he comes out like, what are you doing here, dude? You suck.
they're not. The kids aren't really like. They're not that uncomfortable with it. They're a little weird about it, but really, it's the parents. The parents are upset about Jesus being in school.
But the kids are not like
the older generation.
They're like, yeah, it was kind of weird.
Our buddy Jesus, we had all these adventures with.
They're not like, if Jesus isn't their buddy. Jesus is the guy who had the talk show like Maury Povich in town. Jesus is the guy that they interacted with a lot. Jesus is the guy who died for their sins in Christmas in Iraq.
Because he was like, because Santa told him how good it was. He's like, we've skipped the middleman. This is just straight. Like, and it's like, it's so good. It's so pure. And Jesus is like, I can't. And it's like, Santa was like, no, really, Jesus, you got to do this Coke. And then Jesus did the Coke. And he's like,
actually,
oh yeah, you're right. It's really good.
You actually have it. You actually have it backwards.
Was it Jesus did the Coke first?
Yeah, Jesus was totally fine with the cocaine. It was Santa Claus. Santa Claus was the one who was like, we shouldn't need cocaine to have a good Christmas. And Jesus Christ was like, look, I'm Jesus. I mean, come on, bro. This stuff is pure. I know cocaine pretty well. You look at him. He's all about cocaine. That's it's biblically accurate in every way.
Well, the very first episode of South Park, the one before it turned into a show, was The Spirit of Christmas, which was Jesus fighting Santa Claus.
Right. That's right.
Before
anything.
Right.
So
they ended up working together in Iraq to defeat Saddam Hussein.
Is Jesus coming back with pure blow then, not more evidence of Mormonism in South Park being the one true religion? Because he got to South America and got back?
Yeah, I think they constantly are pushing the point, and I'm glad that they want people to know the truth. That's pretty important.
But Santa, because Santa sees everyone, nobody sees Santa, and Saint Nick, come on, Nick, old Nick, it's all there. Yeah. No,
I don't know. I wonder about Satan.
Sorry, who's old Nick? I missed that.
Old Santa Nick Claus is the name for the devil, and Saint Nick is the name for Santa Claus, and Satan is an anagram for Santa, Satan.
Right,
so that he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows,
it correlates to Saturn as well, because Saturn Claus, and it happens in Capricorn. Christmas is within Capricorn seain, and
every Christmas I gotta watch the what's the horror movie with Krampus? I gotta watch Krampus.
Rare Exports. Rare Exports. The finished one or which one?
No, the relatively recent one with the movie star, the Hollywood one. You seen Krampus, the Hollywood movie?
I'm gonna have to check.
Great.
Not a fan.
You're not a fan? I love it.
Not a huge fan. There was one that came out that had John Leguizamo in it, which is my new favorite Christmas movie. I think it was called Violent Night.
Really? Oh, I don't know that one.
I think Violent Night is far superior to Krampus, and it has even more baked in like this one is probably the best Christmas movie in my opinion.
This does look all right. I haven't seen this yet. I'll have to check
If you
it
haven't
out.
seen it, put it on December's
Yes,
Christmas
yes.
list.
This is important. I did like this one a lot. I like Rare Exports. Exports is
Eyes Wide Shut is the Christmas movie.
I mean, and Die Hard, but like Rare Exports is the Finnish movie, and it's about an American businessman who's basically Trump, who really gets into Christmas, probably since he was in Home Alone 2. And he comes out to Finland to find the original Santa Claus, which is trapped underneath a volcano pyramid in an ice block, chained up so that he can't escape. And he's like thinking, I can't wait to see the real Santa Claus because he's an immortal spirit that's trapped under ice. And like, you don't understand. Santa Claus is not your friend. Santa Claus is a demon that hunts down naughty children. And there's only one child who's bothered to read the books and understand what's naughty and nice. And so one child in all of Finland decides to be a good boy, and he's protecting himself. And then there's all these naked old men who are Santa Claus's helpers, and he has to chain them up. I mean, honestly, I think Rare Exports is.
Andreas,
Wow.
I'm going to do this thing where, we're jumping all over the place, and I don't mind because I like psychedelic, synchronistic elite pad. But you turned me onto a movie I ended up watching twice that was like a dance film that was like an Asian dance film that took place during World War II or something. What was that? Where so over the top, dude.
Was it the North? There's a new one I like that's a North Korean Footloose.
It's North Korean.
Yeah, they're like in a POW camp. That one?
Yeah.
Happy
yeah.
Jail?
What is that? What is it?
Happy Jail?
No. What's it called again? Oh man, I'm trying to remember too.
Swing Kids?
Yeah, Swing Kids. That's right. Swing Kids. Not
it was Swing Kids.
Kids movie. That was
Right. Yeah, this movie is really important. I think people should see this movie.
I don't watch like
Swing Kids
dance
19.
movies, dude. Like it's so cheesy or whatever. But this was freaking so entertaining. Yeah,
dude, this movie is really incredible. It's got all kinds of people in a prisoner of war camp essentially, and they're being tortured, they're being starved, and they're suffering. There's American expats, there's CIA agents, there's everything. But they just want to tap dance. They just want to dance.
Wasn't this a remake of a 1993 movie about the same thing happening in a Nazi?
I wouldn't say that they're very similar. I really like the '93 Swing Kids with the actor from the Young Indiana Jones series. You're talking about Swing Kids 1993. Yeah, which is great. It's a great movie, but it's about kids who don't want to be Nazis. Christian Bale's in this. It's a movie about kids who don't want to be Nazis, and they're so upset because they don't want to be mainstream. It's not that they hate the Nazis for any other reason, that the Nazis are mainstream and they're basically punks. And the Nazis say you're not supposed to listen to blues music and swing music because Jews and blacks make that music. So then that's of course the kind of music they want to listen to. And I actually had a great aunt who was a swing kid. This is a real thing. My great aunt
Bale?
Christian Bale. Christian Bale's in this. Also the dude from House and from the Teenage Werewolf movie,
Oh yeah.
right? Who's Canadian, of course. Yeah.
There's a Newsies like Swing Kids connection here somewhere too.
Absolutely. I see that and I feel that very strongly. But like basically they are studying swing and studying American slang dialect. There's the kid from the Young Indiana Jones movie. Where is he at right there? There he is right there. Remember this guy? What's his freaking name
is that
again?
Career Opportunities? What's his name? Is that?
Yes, it's Career Opportunities kid.
Okay. Swimming with Sharks. Yeah. All right.
Frank Whaley. Frank Whaley from Career Opportunities with Jennifer Connelly.
Oh boy.
An incredible man. An incredible man. Oh, and he's in Bitcoin. That's nice. I gotta see that movie. Bitcoin's that movie about Bitcoin being like a con artist, and it's got like the dude who kind of looks like Will who didn't show up tonight,
Jeremy
right?
Davies.
Yes,
This guy
Charles.
looks like
man.
Will. That's harsh, man.
You really don't think that Will? This is Will. I'm always confused when I see that Will's not this guy in every movie.
Now we know I didn't make it today.
Because he's in David Koresh's
We can
new
invoke
Waco
him right
TV
now. I know it's
series.
late into the show, but all we have to do is talk about how Waco was
Waco
was
didn't
in fact
exist.
a cult.
Clap like a
It
fairy.
was a cult,
And they were
Okay,
shooting
Waco.
at the helicopters first. They shot first at the helicopters.
Right. He's gonna show up. He's gonna pop in here. Did you say? If
Yeah,
Also,
David
you
Koresh
just-
didn't know
David
anything about
Koresh-
the Bible. He had no idea.
David Koresh was a tap dancer. He never even read the Bible before. He was actually into the Quran and the Tao Te Ching. I don't know what you want me to do right now. He liked Enigma and Enya. That was his favorite kind of music. Will, where are you?
Swing. He likes swing a lot. He was a swing kid, actually.
My great aunt
I
was a
thought it was
swing.
gonna show up. Damn it. I thought
My,
it was really
my
gonna work.
great aunt was a swing kid, and she was arrested because the Germans didn't like what they were doing, and so she was sent to some like weird military base in the mountains. I think in Fitzkönigsberg, where she had to look as a weather girl to see planes flying overhead and report them, because that's what they did to swing kids. They ended up making them, into assets. That was their way of, dealing with people essentially. But yeah, the swing kids are pretty important to the German anti-Nazi movement. There were a lot of German kids who were like, actually, we don't really want to do this because it seems not just that it was wrong because they didn't know everything going on, but just that like, why would you want to be a Boy Scout walking around the street being all mainstream with all of these like jocks? You
make it sound like a proper Antifa.
They were like the goths in high school. They're like, no, dude, I'm not going to be a conformist, bro. I'm going to listen.
Sure, they weren't like the emos who don't get along with the goths. Is that?
I don't think they were like the emos because the emos were way too into makeup and fashion.
Okay, I'm not all this, and it does tie in with the South Park bit. But like, is this the meme where they're like, "Are you two friends?" And the emos to the goths, they're like, "Yeah," and then the goths are like, "No, we're not friends." Is that what it was?
Exactly. Yeah, because before the Nazis, you had the cabaret movement, and the cabaret movement is very emo. It's like makeup, theater, all that stuff.
Theater kids, yeah.
Theater kids, but also like anxious, emotional, all this crap. Whereas I think like the goths are more, they're anti-civility. So like the goths, if you're going to try to find like a real, because you could use the goth to talk about people wearing all black, but that's not necessarily accurate either. Like we said about Pink being the ultimate form of goth. It's really Asterix and Obelix. It's this sort of escapism from Roman civility, and particularly the Holy Roman Empire, because they looked at anybody who wasn't a part of the Holy Roman Empire as pagans, barbarians, savages. And this is really like a lot of what makes a goth is someone who says, I'm okay with that. I don't really care what a bunch of Roman Caligulac pedophiles think of me. You can go have sex with your senator mule. That's completely fine. Like, love your horse, leave me be. Like, that's what the goths are proud of, being people of the folk, right? And that's, I think, a difference between statism, because the Roman statism, that's really what is the opposite of goth, and that's the jock. But it's the jock is the statist. It's someone who's trying to fulfill the role that the civilization is demanding of them and requesting of them. And they're really good at it, right? They're simple people that are able to run like a mule, like a horse across a field, right? That's what the state is.
Well, also to get people to cheer for their locality and foster nationalism and the rest of it, right?
Yeah, Napoleonic. I could say that's true also because what's real before Napoleon? Like Napoleon, this dude from Corsica, builds up this idea of nationalism. And then you start to see it in the 19th century. All of a sudden, all of these countries are like, oh, we're Roman, we're Greek, we're descendant from these great civilizations. It's exactly what Germany was trying to do in the 30s, except Germany was saying, no, we're not going to focus on the Holy Roman Empire. We're going to focus on the Goths. We're going to focus on the barbarians. We're going to focus on the folk. We're going to focus on the people, right? Which is a rejection of that idea. The Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, exactly. That's kind of what we're talking about. The Goths were the real Romans. Depends on what you mean by Romans. That's kind of my point. Goth girl supremacy, Juggalo girl supremacy. Okay, Juggalettes are the answer to all of your problems.
Oh, don't get them to bring up those pictures again.
Except for venereal diseases.
I feel like the thing with Napoleon, and I don't know. I read all the box. I went through all the boxes at the Kubrick archives, like in person, like reading through his vision, which was as much of a
Nice.
Josephine film as it was a Napoleon film. Like he actually pitched that it would be called Napoleon and Josephine as like the title. And the Ridley Scott one, we've had this conversation. I'll go off about it, but like
I'd love to talk to you more about that though at some point, David. That's so cool.
Sure. Well, the thing is that like I believe that if you look at what Ridley Scott just did with his Napoleon film, and not what was released, but the actual like director's cut, which is like an hour or over 40 minutes at least of extra footage, almost all the footage that was removed was the Josephine story. So like if you watch the director's cut and you look at what Kubrick envisioned, it really feels like he attempted to like not put Kubrick's name on it, not try and like do what Spielberg would do and was trying to do and apparently gave up on. Like he had a miniseries plan. Like he wants to capitalize on the Kubrick name. It feels like Ridley Scott was just like, I'm inspired by what Kubrick wanted to do. I'm actually going to give you that, not Waterloo, which replaced what Kubrick was working on with the Rod Steiger, Dino De Laurentiis movie, but like, which also syncs with ABBA's Waterloo, which is a whole deeper, crazy conversation. But like, that movie feels like he wanted to do a romance, and that's why the argument from MGM makes no about MGM. Like I couldn't find that anywhere in the archives, anywhere where MGM turned it down, because he went through all the math of the numbers of what it would cost, and it was nowhere near what Dino De Laurentiis ended up spending, because he didn't want to do it as a giant war epic. Like, yeah, there would be some war scenes or whatever, but it wasn't like that. So it's just like it wouldn't have been that costly. So that explanation makes no sense. But what I was going to just say with that as an aside is more that when I look at what happened with Napoleon, just historically, like it kind of reminds me of like I was going to say not Thelma and Louise, who was the actual the couple that went around and robbed people, and Bonnie and Clyde. Because if you look at the Bonnie and Clyde story, it's like they made pretty well for themselves. Like they stole a bunch of money. They offed some people, but they were like they couldn't just like leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
Like, look, we made it. We're okay. Like at that time, they could have gone on with their lives. They could have lived.
They were teenagers, though, right? They were teenagers.
Right, but they were also just addicted to this. Like, we got to keep going. We got to keep going. Look at Napoleon in Russia. Like, it's like, dude, like you look what you did. Like, just chill. Like you like it's pretty impressive. Like you did pretty well for yourself. But it's just like that no end in sight thing, which is also the same thing that happened with what's her name? That lady who was burned at the stake, the Christian lady, Joan of Arc. Man, you're like, dude, they're like you just don't know when to just like be like, count your losses, count your wins. The wins outnumber the losses, and just be good with that. Maybe eventually you can, but it's just that raw crazy ambition, But
that's a part of human nature, and it's like it takes that type of endless drive to accomplish anything. But that's the same drive that doesn't allow you to enjoy any of it.
It just reminds me of any addiction, It's like, and like nations have that problem. It's not just these heads of leading these armies. It's just like the whole thing feels like crazy addictive tendencies or something, I don't know.
Absolutely.
You know that the Joan d'Arc movie from 1928 was lost for decades. And finally they found it in the 70s in a Danish insane asylum where it had been used to show people who are crazy that maybe God really was talking to them and that they're just being tortured. And I mean,
I got the Criterion of this. Shout out Criterion.
Oh my god!
Dude.
It's just her in court the whole time. Isn't that basically what it is? And then she gets burned.
I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Passion of the Christ, but about a chick. I think this was a really underrated film. They did a good job here. Obviously, the Mila Jovovich one syncs with Resident Evil, which is pretty interesting.
Well,
but Mila Jovovich has
Leonard Cohen, which is on the website. But the thing is that with that one
you have Joan of Arc with Cohen. What?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, Cohen of
Whoa.
Arc. Yeah,
that's awesome. There's definitely like a Wizard of Oz thing with the poppies and like John Malkovich plays like isn't he the Pope or is he the King? I forget what the deal is with that. He's the King, right? That's what it is. This movie's incredible.
Simple Jack with that haircut.
Totally,
dude, for sure.
Total Simple Jack here, yeah. And her too, kind of. But like the thing is that with this movie, Dustin Hoffman ends up breaking it to her while she's waiting her execution. That like this is just she's on a trip. Like she found that sword. she attributed it to this divine thing, and he's like, no, the soldier dropped the sword, like it didn't fall from heaven, like and he has to break it to her, and then she starts stuttering all crazy. She develops this stutter because she just starts tripping out in this rendition of it, of Joan of Arc just being like, oh my god, yeah, you're right, this is all me, isn't it? Like I've been ascribing all this, I've been deitizing the whole thing, and like, oh man, I'm just on one, aren't I? And like that's pretty harsh, but yeah, and that's the antithesis of what they did in this early silent film, The Passion of Joan of Arc. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what's the movie we talked about recently, like that's the kind of like the 90s jet ski dirt bike remake of Joan of Arc. You know what I'm talking about?
No. What are you doing?
No.
Oh, my brain's
Billie
not
Jean? The story of Billie
Yeah,
Jean?
thank you. There it is. Story of Billie Jean.
Back to Joan of Arc somehow? Oh, man.
Billie Jean is not my savior.
Dude, the story of Billie Jean is totally about Joan of Arc.
Legend of Billie Jean, man.
Legend of Billie Jean. Yeah, this movie is totally about Joan of Arc. You need to watch it like with your eyes squinted, and maybe you need to take Quaaludes. But like, if you really think about it,
well, I would say maybe even more so is just one of the guys.
Oh
God! You think just one of the guys about Joan of Arc?
Why did you just say boys don't cry?
Social interpersonal. There's something to it, though. There's something to it.
Just like it's like kind of like Mulan. Mulan, I also see as like a form of a Joan of Arc style story.
Huh.
For sure, dude.
No, but the sacrifice scene is so like I think Boys Don't Cry actually works because it's about like the loss. God, you know what? This movie,
be careful with this one.
This movie confuses so many people from so many genders. I mean, really, I think every gender is confused.
Isn't it just the gender version of Soul Man? Isn't that basically what this movie was?
Yeah, but it's so much more. Really, I mean, there's something deep about this film. It's sure the facade is that it's Soul Man, but I think it's saying something way deeper than it is about gender, about interpersonal social expectations.
Pretty deep. Watch.
It's not about gender. Oh. It's not about gender. It's about engenderment. You know what I mean? It's about what people expect of you, and to such a level. And
is it like Porky's or what is?
It's also about. It's about a girl who wants to succeed as a writer in her high school, and so she dresses as a boy and figures out she's going to succeed more as a boy, but that there's all sorts of other social expectations of being a boy, and then she has issues because the boy that she wants to date, he is in love with her, but he can't be in love with her because she's a boy now, and so she has to reveal that she's not actually the thing that she's socially presenting as. And so this is more about classism.
Oh, we're going to see a remake of this any day now, aren't we?
I mean, yeah, but will it
be able to be what this one was, because this is in a time capsule.
She's going to do it. Oh, there she's her tits, and they're pretty raising tits.
The remake is going to be a guy falls in love with a trans and then finds out at the end that it wasn't all along. It was just like a biological female, and it's going to rock his entire world.
He wants his money back, you know?
How's that movie not already made? That sounds like the movie,
That's what
right?
I'm saying, man. Like, they're missing out.
Am I part of the heteronormative patriarchy now?
Right. Realizes it was a fetish all along.
Right. So what's the remake of Soul Man going to be then? Or was that White Chicks?
That
I don't
was
know
White
what happened.
Chicks, yeah.
Okay. White Chicks was already done. And White Chicks is
You're going to have to
incredible.
work twice as hard as these white little shits. What is it? It's Darth Vader, Lion King. What's his name?
James
Earl Jones. His part in Soul Man is pretty good, like where he's like telling, because he knows the kid's faking it, because he can recognize, the white people can't tell that he's really a white dude pretending wearing blackface.
Yeah,
but
I have to throw
James
in
Earl Jones is like, oh yeah, dude. And he's like, you're gonna have to work twice as hard as.
James Earl Jones knows, because he was a white guy wearing blackface in Star Wars. So
Sorority Boys.
What about Sorority Boys? Isn't Sorority Boys kind of already? I mean, Sorority Boys is wickedly underrated film. I mean, they have everything from the fraternal. You've never seen this? Doesn't it have?
Look closer. They use the same tagline as American Beauty. Oh no.
Yeah, it's really, I think, an underrated film. Some crazy stuff happens in this movie. It's supposed to be aimed at like a white chick's audience, but you start to see the social expectations again of what it means to be a man, what it means to be a girl. Particularly, like they get like molested, they get like date raped and he has the walk of shame in the morning after being raped, essentially, just like they were all doing in the college. And but it happens to the boy, which is Rosenbaum, who plays Lex Luthor in Smallville, which is his tie to Nexium, and Harlan Williams from the Red like what's that movie where like they go to Mars and it's based on the reluctant astronaut, you know?
Oh, Half Baked.
No, that's good too.
Or
Harlan Williams.
he also gets violated in that movie the same way.
It's true.
That's true.
That's actually true. Half Baked, Totally High, 2024. There's a new movie, and I'm not even ready to handle that. I didn't know that there's a new Half Baked. Is that true?
It is true, yeah.
Oh my god, Rocket Man. I think it's called Rocket Man. Rocket
Yes.
Man. That's the one. Rocket Man is the Harlan Williams movie where they go to Mars, and it's based on the reluctant astronaut with, Don Knotts,
Oh,
the better
no.
one. You ever seen
Nice.
Reluctant
Don
Astronaut?
Knotts.
No, I
Don
wish
Knotts.
I can't. I prefer the Incredible Mr. Limpet, but I'll take it.
Dude, no, Incredible Mr. Limpet's incredible.
Does he have to say, I wish I were an astronaut to end up an astronaut in this? Is that all it takes, or what?
Pretty much, because he's like a janitor and they're trying to find someone they have an automated system, and the Russians have just sent a teacher into space, proving that even, a teacher into space, like we tried in the 80s. But this whole thing is that who do we have that's even less qualified than a teacher? And they're like, well, we have this
challenging.
This janitor that we really want to get, but he used to work at a carnival, so he has this weird kind of memory of what to do at the carnival. They had a pretend astronaut ship where they threw rocks at this box and they pretend they're going through a spaceship like descent. So even when the satellite and the radio system stop working, all of a sudden he just like flickers back. He's like, oh wait, I know what to do. And he does exactly what he used to do at the carnival. And then that lands the spaceship. Reluctant Astronaut's incredible.
Damn.
Based on a true story.
Put that on the list.
Hey, this is just a slight tangent, but another space movie that I just saw recently for the first time, Disney's Mission to Mars with Don Cheadle. Have you guys seen this one?
No.
It's essentially about them investigating the face on Mars, and then they identify that it's emitting these frequencies, and they break these frequencies down into like a double helix strand DNA that's missing a certain element to it, and it's waiting for them to kind of like
I remember this movie. Yeah.
Back, and it like opens up into this weird sort of room, and like they can join the aliens and fly out, but it's pretty insane.
Yeah, totally. It's like all it took was the thing with that face for them to just be like, I mean, we that's the premise for a whole movie. But no, there is weird stuff there. I'm sure we've discussed it at some point. But like that face on Mars, like, okay, whatever, it looks kind of like a face.
Very Kubrick
but it was
moments in this.
The thing that they sent to Mars had a direct line in which it flew over Mars. Like Mars is freaking huge, right? So they're like, we're gonna go over this one part. The next time after they sent that just so happened that the pathway of the next probe that like took photos like it did, they sent to make it cross over the exact same point on Mars so they could get a better look at it. Meaning, say what you will around people tripping out on this face on Mars, but NASA, apparently, if you believe that NASA sent this thing to Mars, which will take that far, and that what we're seeing is actual footage of Mars, photographs of Mars, they cared enough to send it back to take a look at that again. They're like, what is there something to that? So it makes sense that it would at least be the basis for a whole Hollywood movie, if they're going to invest that much money. I mean, that's a lot of money, whatever the case. Like, they're spending money. I don't know if they're really making it to Mars for what they're spending. Is it just a money laundering scheme, and they have pictures of Arizona that they're going
to? It's that you take all the money and you just have to have some sort of footage to show the public to justify the last 2 decades of funding, right? That's all Capricorn 1 was.
That's true. Yeah.
They're using the money to go to Dimension X.
Is that what they did with OJ's whole trial too? Is that no? That was a real trial, right? We watched that.
I mean, that's basically
that wasn't a
the
money
whole
laundering
point.
scheme, was it? I'm just saying, OJ's been involved with.
It was all actually invested in the Kardashian legacy. That entire trial.
If you've watched the Ninja Turtles, which I'm sure you have, even the new one, you'll see that they go to Dimension X because that's where Krang is from, and it's a major point that they're taking items from our world and they're exporting them to their world in exchange for technology. When Dimension X is not when we think of dimensions, we realize dimensions are not like different realms of reality per se. It's Dimension X is in time. So it's something outside of time that's sort of in the post-Armageddon reality that these Ninja Turtles are tied to because of this corporation that creates the ooze and these reptilians that are running the reality. In fact, Krang is is a guy's out, kind of like Godzilla, that's been replaced with, his body's been removed and he's just the brain. That's all that's left. That's his punishment for the wars he's caused in Dimension X. And if you watch even the original series, Hot Rodding Teenagers from Dimension X episode 4, you see these teenagers very much like swing kids from their dimension that have escaped Dimension X, and they're bringing technology so that the Ninja Turtles have technology that they can fight against Shredder, because Shredder's made a deal with Krang, because after the atomic blast in Japan, that's where Krang ends up. The nuclear blast opens up a portal to Dimension X. So this poor, impoverished nation of Japan, Oroku Saki, is taking the technology. The Krang is saying, look, let me give you technology. Just build me a body. You can use this technology. It's like, well, I need this technology to sell. So yeah, sell VCRs, sell Sony cameras, but eventually build me a body. And he just keeps trying not to build the body for Krang until finally he demands, like, I'm not giving you any more Dimension X technology until you build me a body. And so they finally have it.
I think we're seeing the same thing, but the swing kids, as you called them, those are actually lollipop kids. But lollipop kids and swing kids are the exact same time period.
Yeah, I mean they're the hot rodding teenagers. So there's also this idea of the hot rodding teenagers from American Graffiti. They're kids that come from the post-military industrial complex after the war, and they're living in this sort of post-war, post-dimension, in the Dimension X, outside of time. This escapist.
It's lollipop guild, though.
Yeah,
right?
but also you're talking about the nuclear bomb opening up a dimensional rift for something that needs a body. It's Japanese Twin Peaks. That's what's going on.
So entirely. And it also, of course, like Ask Paranoid American, but this relates back to Project Montauk, which is why the Ninja Turtles, they come downstream, like they're from a sewer downstream. Like the sewage is draining from Montauk into, I think, Philadelphia, right? Which is where the original Ninja Turtles didn't come from New York originally. They came from Philadelphia. They're part of the Philadelphia experiment and ended up in New York for some reason, mainly because of Splinter. God, you know what? Isn't April O'Neil like the most? Like, isn't she just the most? I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, she's Mercury, right? I
Not that there's a problem.
Netzach and Hode earlier, but like
she's Mercury because she's a newscaster, so she's bringing the news.
She's just one of the guys. She's infiltrating a group, and she figured that, hey, if I dress up as a girl, I can get further with these 4 guys and get the inside scoop.
Is that Ninja Turtles is a clephotic cosmology where all elements of the Kabbalistic tree are communicated almost perfectly, because you have the brain is obviously Keter, referred to as the middle brain in Kabbalistic texts, but then you have Splinter and Shredder, which are called metal and wood. And if you look at Crowley's system, where he applied the Chinese philosophy and the I Ching into the Kabbalistic tree, he has Chokhmah and Bina as metal and wood, respectively. So Splinter, obviously wood, he's the understanding, and then the wisdom is Shredder because he like cuts, and then you have the colors of their their headbands, like kind of like relating to the lower worlds, right? And maybe even like there's a weird thing, like I would say Casey Jones, he's wearing the hockey mask. It's like Friday the 13th, 13-month calendar, Hebrew calendar. Like I don't know. There's something going on between like Netzach and Hode, April O'Neil, and Casey Jones. But I was like going through, and the Foot Clan would relate to Malkut because there's a translation issue in the Old Testament where feet and the phallus go together, right? So like the tip, like Malkut is technically the tip of the genitals, whether male or female.
It's very
but there's an argument that biblically, when they say they were washing their feet, they're actually just as easily could have been washing their genitals, because your genitals get dirty. Someone needs to wash your genitals. Like, it's a very kindly thing to do for somebody, But like, there's like this. So that's the Foot Clan. But then I was like, what is Tiferet? And I realized it's freaking pizza, because they're all partaking of this thing. It's at the center of the whole thing. But anyway, yeah.
But like the foot means peta, right? So like, would you say a pedophile for a pedicure? And the Foot Clan, they're constantly getting these kids the entire time to like join their organization, which is also the Technodrome is underground because Dimension X. They're trying to avoid interacting with our timeline because Dimension X is outside of time.
Right. So I can see that as a dot, but yes.
Well,
There's a lot to this.
I mean, whether it's a mistranslation about the genitals or not, I mean, we correlate Christianity and Christ with Pisces, right? And Pisces rules the feet. And,
Right. Hebrew doesn't work the same way. So like sometimes you can have something that could be called a mistranslation, but what you actually have is an entirely different way of thinking and communicating. So you'll have 20 to 30 words for one word that's being communicated, and it can mean multiple things at once depending on how you want to look at it. You just keep turning it like a diamond and you're like, oh, I see it this way, see it that way. So like, yeah, there's so many examples of that. You know, my favorite is Aram. One of my favorites is Aram, where cunning and naked are, you know, right, like the serpent's the most cunning of all the creatures in the garden. Adam and Eve are naked or not ashamed. It's the same word. You could just as easily say Adam and Eve are cunning and not ashamed, and the serpent is the most naked of all the creatures in the garden. You know, like it's just a matter of how you look at it, you know. But
there have been some interesting recent brain studies showing the difference between Arab and German speakers, and I think this also applies for Hebrew speakers, that German brains are far more hemispheric. There's a German word for everything, and so things end up being very clear, and you see like less connections between both points. Although on the Arabic brain, there's so many nuanced, multiple meanings, symbolic realities, metaphors, etc., that transcend that the brains actually show further synapse connections between the west and east, left and right hemispheres of the brain. And I think that that's something, you know, to look at in Hebrew.
Well, it's interesting in the exegesis. Philip K. Dick believed that the right and left brain didn't talk to each other in modern humans. He had this whole thing. He had read what was concurrent at the time, some scientific report, but that you could improve connection between the brain by megadosing vitamins, which is what he did before he had his 2374 experience.
Dig it.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've got the image to show you right this second, but like, you know, they've done a lot. Where's the imagery of brain scans from people taking LSD and like the crossover that happens there? This is your brain on LSD, and it looks like one of those rubber band balls, you know, that bounces bigger and higher than ever before.
Yep. So you can connect things that have never been connected, or connect things that maybe shouldn't be connected. You never know.
You shouldn't. Who's to say?
Yeah, you know? But also the Ninja Turtles, like you were saying, the color headbands they have correlate to their astrological sign perfectly.
Okay.
Like if you go to the Pythagorean theorem of the zodiac, like Michelangelo is orange for Gemini, and he's wisecracking and just having fun, and he's light. Leonardo is blue for Sagittarius, and so he's thinking of the higher things, more philosophical things. He's the one who's meditating all the time. You have Donatello is purple for Aquarius, and he's the one who's inventing things. And then Raphael is red for Aries. He's getting angry and going off on his own all the time.
Okay, so you're saying like Raphael, the great thinker of the Renaissance, that was his astrological sign?
No, I'm talking about the colors of the turtles that the color.
I got that. Are you making the argument that for their
Raphael was just a hothead. He could never finish anything.
Yeah, Raphael was pretty arrogant.
Let's look at their astrology. Let's look at the astrology of the Renaissance people. I don't know.
Right.
See
I never
if it corresponds to what you're arguing. I don't know.
Michelangelo was a party dude for sure. I mean, we all know that.
Raphael was real rude.
If you want to dig deeper into astrology, you have to get on Noah's astrology Patreon. This is Facing North Astrology, and he's got all sorts of interesting posts here. Some of them are locked unless you get it pay to play. All right, and he's smarter than me. I'm just asking you to visit Xirtus.com and send me some money if you can. But this guy actually wants, you know, to like put a price on wisdom, and I respect that to an extent. I'm no Freemason, but you know, I like the idea of pay to play.
What you're looking at there is a deep dive into every degree of the zodiac that I drop every day when the sun hits that, which I did last year. All kinds of different systems, collating them together and coming to my own sort of.
Raphael's in Aries. That makes a lot of sense, by the way. Raphael is totally in Aries.
He actually is the artist. That's amazing. Yeah,
I haven't checked it. I haven't fact checked it, but it could be. But yeah, make sure you go to Facing North Astrology. Also, MK Ultrasound, David Plate. We were talking about so many sync films he did earlier. You guys got to go to MK Ultrasound 723 for David Plate on X, and you can get to the highlights section. You'll find all sorts of films synchronized. Cohen of Arc is the one that I'm going to want to check out myself. Schindler's List with Cohen. There's basically a lot of good Cohen syncs, actually. They're not the only thing going on, but there's some worth watching. I would highly recommend checking out David Plate's work. Anything you want me to post on there? Also, the syncbook.com, Sync Press. You can check out his page where his art's available. I'm loading it up right now. Click right here. You can, everyone who hasn't already seen it. Sorry, Cassandra, I misunderstood everything predicts 9/11. I keep wanting everyone to have seen this, and there's people that still haven't, and that blows my mind. But you need to watch this insanely detailed sync film that explains how Cassandra, the gift of prophecy, is so easily misunderstood by us, even though the syncs are right there because they're using our own existential experiences like Clockwork Elves to explain everything to us in a language that's based in our own understanding. So highly important work, really important.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the pit.
Paranoid American, also paranoidamerican.com, making all the occult calendar available for you. This is really important. If you guys want to be, on your wall, you want to have pictures of your family. That's all right, I guess. That's what some people do, but that's
who does that.
I would say the occult calendar, Chaldean, ordinal reduction, septenary. He's got all kinds of important
Well, this is even better too. This
cycles.
is a pocket day planner, so you can keep this on your body at all. It's almost like a bloodstone that maybe like an old Mormon elder might have kept on him to protect him from.
It's a vegan bloodstone, basically.
Vegan bloodstone, yeah.
I'm happy with this. And anything else you want me to push on your Paranoid American page? I mean, Are You Under Illuminati Mind Control is still on sale. Everyone should have a copy of this by now, probably 5 copies of this because they're so affordable. And you can leave them around town, hand them off to people because so many people are probably wondering. Maybe they're not yet wondering, but they will if they're under Illuminati mind control, and they can start to understand what it even means to be under Illuminati mind control, what the Illuminati is, what mind control is, and how historic it is to be kind of a hypnotic reactionary controlled by the Illuminati. And
at this point, it's really I don't even want you to buy one of these. I want you to buy 50 of these and spread them out throughout. And we've got little bundle packs. So if you really want to be a trooper and just drop these all over your school or town or workplace or wherever and be kind of a swing kid with one of us, a conspiracy swing kid, then contact me and I'll make sure that you get a huge stack of these just to spread them out into the world.
That's beautiful. Divulgence, do you want me to share anything?
No, man, that's cool. I mean, we do have, we're going to do a good swap cast on Monday with myself, Thomas, and Andreas, and we're going to do a deep dive on George Floyd with Miriam Hanine. And that'll be the first bring back episode for Divulgence. But no, that's cool, man. It was great to meet you guys, and let's keep fighting a good fight. It's good to see you
having you here.
Beautiful. Let me also say Nehedar, because Nehedar
David, I will also
amazing.
be reaching out to you soon, by the way. Sorry to interrupt.
No, excellent. I just want to say, because I'm going to do a show pretty soon with Nehedar talking about Zion, Illinois, which is going to be really fascinating. I think everyone's going to love this. If you're interested in Mormonism, if you're interested in Tartaria, if you're interested in Kabbalah, if you're interested in America, if you're just interested, if you're an interesting person, then you're going to love this video that we do together. I would highly, I got a second following here. Yes, please send me notifications. So you can listen to some amazing music. Nehedar's got all kinds of really great music, and she also makes music with David Plate. So if you like David Plate, then you're going to want to hear him on some of these albums. Anything you wanted to say about that, David?
I just contribute samples sometimes, and we work on concepts together for a bunch of this stuff. So little things that philosophical matters that we've gone into, you can see show up in the albums. This is her new album called Power Starfish.
This is my freaking favorite album cover ever. I love this.
Her kid did that album cover. You can thank Benny for that. Benny Cataldo.
Oh, it's so reductionist. It's so minimal. It's so pure. It's refined. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, that album is set to officially release on other platforms on the 2nd of next month. But yeah, right now you can still listen to it on Bandcamp. So
sweet. Okay. And then anybody, like I said, go to xirtus.com or andreas.me. If you like me, donate to me, keep me alive, keep me going. That'd be sweet of you. We appreciate all you do. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time on Synctank. Mothers